Hey, good morning. It is 9:34, and I will call this meeting of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors to order. And please ask our clerk to call the roll, establish a quorum, and read the Metro Cable statement.
Good morning, Supervisors Cerna.
Here.
Frost.
Here.
Hume.
Here.
Desmond.
Here.
And let the record reflect that Supervisor Kennedy will not be present today. This meeting of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel, on the Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T UVerse cable systems. The meeting is closed caption and is webcast at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting will be repeated Friday, June 16th at 6 p.m. on Channel 14. The Board of Supervisors fosters public engagement during the meeting and encourages public participation, civility, and use of courteous language. The Board does not condone the use of profanity, vulgar language, gestures, or other inappropriate behavior, including personal attacks or threats directed towards any meeting participant. Seating is limited and available on a first-come, first-served basis. Each speaker will be given 2 minutes to make a public comment and are limited to making one comment per agenda or off-agenda item. Please be mindful of the public comment procedures to avoid being interrupted or disconnected while making your comment. To make a comment in person, please fill out a speaker request form and hand it to clerk staff. The chairperson will open public comments for each agenda item or off-agenda matter and direct the clerk to call the name of each speaker. When the clerk calls your name, please come to the podium and make your comment. If a speaker is unavailable to make a comment prior to the closing of public comments, the speaker waives their request to speak and the clerk will file the speaker request form in the record. The clerk will manage the timer and allow each speaker 2 minutes to make a comment. To make a comment by phone, dial 916-875-2500 and follow the prompts to be placed in queue for a specific agenda or off-agenda item. Clerk staff will transfer each caller into the meeting. You may be on hold for an extended period of time and your patience is appreciated. You may send written comments by email to boardclerk@saccounty.gov and your comments will be routed to the board and filed in the record. If you need an accommodation pursuant to the Americans with Disabilities Act or for medical or other reasons, please see clerk staff for assistance or contact the clerk's office at 916-874-5451 or by email at boardclerk@saccounty.gov. Thank you in advance for your courtesy and understanding of the meeting procedures.
Okay, thank you, Flo. I'd ask Supervisor Hume, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please address the flag. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, and good morning to everybody here in the chambers. We are going to start with our off-agenda public comments, and for those of you who have not been here, this is a chance for you to talk about an item that's specifically not on the timed agenda. So something that is not either on the consent agenda or on the timed agenda. What we've been doing is we are starting off-agenda public comments and leaving it open for 30 minutes at the beginning of the meeting. If there are people signed up who we cannot get to in that 30-minute period, then we will hold it over until to finish at the end of the day after the timed matters. So with that, I'll turn it over to our clerk to start with off-agenda public comment.
Okay, so we do have a few in person, and then we have a couple of callers. So I'll call Ryan Harris.
Good morning.
Good morning. Kind of dress, relax, figure out and match how you guys are taking our comments. Well, I probably should have wore pajama pants because you guys are sleeping on this. But nonetheless, I see Kenny Patrick's not here again. Since I've come, I think he's missed the most board meetings out of you guys. And it just interests me how he missed the most board meetings, and his district also has the highest death rate and shooting rate. Doesn't seem like he cares too much about the people because he's not here. Maybe someone out here would have an idea of how he could help prevent that. Also, I think I might have connected the missing dots or connected the dots and the missing links. So I probably owe the people an apology because I feel like it might be my fault why you guys got your raise. I was thinking about it, and it's good to see Ann Edwards in here today because normally she goes in the back until I'm done speaking. But since I brought that up in the last meeting, I see she's out here today. For those in attendance, Ann Edwards is the lady over here in the purple. Anyway, the reason I feel like it might be my fault you guys got your raise is because I had made some reports about Ann Edwards and how she discriminated against me, retaliated against me, and did some things that led to her involvement, led to me getting death threats and ultimately losing my job. Those are pretty serious things that happened. And how would you guys go about not getting in trouble if you were accused of doing such harsh things? I don't know, maybe figure out how to get your guys' boss a raise. Just an idea, because it was Ann Edwards that looked into getting them a raise, in which all the board members were not aware of her doing that research on our county paid time that we fund you guys to do. So that's just an interesting little link that, hey, if I don't want to get in trouble, maybe I could get you guys more money. And that's just what happened. It's really sad to see, really sad to hear. In addition to, I believe the union that's behind me right now is requesting the $20, which at $20 an hour, probably gets them a yearly salary of around like $41,600. And that's what they're trying to get all year. Yet you guys took $47,000 extra.
Ryan, could you, thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Serna.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to note for the record and for the audience's benefit that our colleague, Supervisor Patrick Kennedy, is actually recovering from surgery. So just want to make that clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Serna.
Okay, next we have Willie Stevens.
Good morning. So my name is Willie Stevens. I'm from District 2. I'm an IHSS provider for 2 years. And we understand why the board gave themselves a raise. We want to keep up with the cost of living, but we're just surviving due to inflation. We urge you stand with caregivers and pass a livable wage. We all deserve to have that peace of knowing we can afford the basic necessities of life. We appreciate you listening today. I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Cecil Riggenberg.
Good morning. My name is Cecil Ringenberg. I'm with District 5. My concern today is the length of agendas. The last 3 meetings, the agendas have been very difficult for a person in the community to follow, and I presume difficult also for you folks to read through, comprehend, and study. And why should I be so interested in that? Because it seems to me that wherever we look, there are movements basically worldwide toward more and more control, perhaps even 15-minute cities, perhaps even causing the police to become militaristic, things of that nature. And it seems to me with the immensity of the agendas, we in the public are not able to see what's coming. So perhaps you folks would consider, during these very busy times, meeting each week instead of only twice a month, basically cutting the agendas in half. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Catherine Wheatville.
Hello. I am the next door neighbor of 7104 Santa Juanita. I learned of their plans a month ago from my children's teachers at one of the 3 schools within less than a quarter mile of this proposal. In that month, neighbors have devoted substantial time to contacting county departments to decipher the situation themselves, as Vicki and Norbert have been evasive and hostile to those who have approached them for answers regarding whether they have plans or permits.
Excuse me, can I ask you, is this about an agenda item on
No,
the agenda?
it's off agenda.
It's off agenda. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sue should be aware of this issue. Engineers from SIPS have visited the site and confirmed that they've been operating without permits, and they have been mailed a letter last Wednesday to present permits or cease operations. Rather than doing that, in the last week, they have not stopped construction and bulldozed ahead. Use runs with the land. The county use listed on the purchase document is convalescent. I strongly disagree with the determination that Diamond House Detox provides the same care as St. Patrick's Alzheimer's. Jacob Daw has informed me that we missed our opportunity to appeal that decision as the deadline has passed in January. The Magabet started their legal construction on the property around March, and neighbors did not know that they had bought it until then. The use permit states that neighbors have the right to object to businesses that would threaten our peace, morals, comfort, or general welfare, and I object on all accounts. I would support a mental health facility that provided talk therapy, hosted AA or Al-Anon, or acted as a healthy resource for our community. However, considering that Vicky was arrested for a physical altercation in front of her existing detox facility in 2020 and has been doing illegal construction for 3 months and has purposely hindered our ability to make timely objections to her business, I do not trust her to manage this vulnerable population next to my family. I would like to request the planning director consider revoking the Magabet's use permit for this location. I believe that this is a fair request. Please consider, my in-laws provide our family with the most support for our 2 young children. They are both recovered alcoholics, and one is a recovered meth user. They deserve to sit on my porch with their grandchildren and not hear or think about people detoxing next door. Also, my own brother has substance abuse problems and stole my family's heirloom jewelry to sell for drugs. I will not tolerate this next to my home, which my husband built and my children were born in. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Supervisor Frost?
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to, since this is public comment, I don't want to have a conversation, but I did want you to know I am fully aware, and my team have been working on this issue, and we have an appointment scheduled, I think. So we'll have time to visit your concerns.
Thank you, Supervisor Frost.
Okay, next we have Loretta Jackson.
Good morning. My name is Loretta Jackson. I'm a home care provider. And being that I am a home care provider, I stand before you today about the economics, what we live in, the day, the time, the hour. As a home care provider, it's been rough. I stand asking that we receive a $20 raise. It's very important. Because it's hard when you have to take a second job because you can't afford to even be a home care provider and the client that you take care of and not knowing where your next this or your next that. So I'm asking that each and every one of you will find it in your hearts to give us a raise. We know that you guys received, and I'm not here to beat you over the head about the raise that you received because I'm happy for you. Because if it's going to help you to live a long and happy life and to better yourselves, that's what we're asking for, to live a long and better life and to be able to maintain. I've talked to a few other home care providers that I tried to get to come with me today, but one of the ladies, she's a home care provider, but she's sleeping in her car. She can't afford to get a place. She has 6 kids, can't get any help. And then to be offered 25 cents for the next 3 years, that's a slap in the face. When all we're asking is $20, we're not even asking for half of what the state workers or what you guys get or what each other workers get. We're just asking for a small percentage just to be able to maintain, to be able to live. I'm also a community organizer, and working out in the community, I talk to a lot of people. I take in a lot of their concerns, and I do know that being able to receive a $20 raise would help us to live a better life. Not only help us to live a better life, but
Ms.
help us
Jackson.
to make a difference in the society. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Loretta.
Okay, Desiree Rojas.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to have this moment before you. I'm the president of Labor Council for Latin American Advancement, Sacramento chapter. I've lived in this community many years. I was raised in the movement, and I have to say that after 50 plus years, it gets really tiring to have to fight, plead, and even shut buildings down to get a living wage. These workers, these IHSS workers are the very workers that held the fabric of our country together during the pandemic. Taxpayers, it costs taxpayers less money to hire IHSS workers. We know that this federal program goes back a long ways. Why they're not asking for $30 an hour, I don't know, but 20 is easy when we are the 4th largest economy in the world. Let me say that. 4th largest economy in the world. We generate more money than most countries in the world. The Golden One Center was built off of state workers' income, membership money, as Golden One Bank was. Let's not forget that for those of you who do not know that. Our chapter is in great support of SEIU 2015 and all workers right now on the front line holding this country together. I walk this perimeter, there are too many tents, there are unhoused, and this number's growing. They're cutting back on federal assistance programs. That's going to add more people to the food line and the unhoused line. And this has got to come to a point to where you tell the people and the workers that rather than coming in and fighting back this way, that there will already be a pre-plan in place so that workers can get their fair share of an increase, a pay increase. That is my message to you. And I also want to remind you that doing this work is absolutely huge, enormous, not only
Ms. Rojas,
emotionally, but
please?
mentally and economically. It just adds to that. You've heard all the stories. So as the president of Labor Council for Latin American Advancement, Sacramento chapter, we're tied to both nationals, AFL-CIO and
Rojas,
Change
could you
to Win.
please wrap up
We
your
are in
comments?
support of the IHS workers SEIU 2015.
Thank you. Thank you. And Flo, let's close the queue for off-agenda public comment
We will close
in
that
person
now.
and on the phone.
Okay. So the last in person would be Cherie Utterback. And then we are going to close the phone queue as well. And as of right now, I believe you have 3 callers. Yeah.
Good morning. I'm here to talk about being a caregiver and what it means to me because I love what I do. And all this purple I see, we love our job, right? Right. It's not enough that we have to pay for gas, taking our clients to the hospital. Just the little 50 cents, it's hard. Poverty is going to go up. Let's be real, it keeps going up. What are we going to do about it? Taking a second job is not my question because I love what I do. So I really wanted to say this to you. I will pray for you and that God opens your eyes to poverty that the caregivers are facing. We need a change. We need to be able to buy food and pay bills in every paycheck. And the minute I get my paycheck, it's gone. So thank you and think about that.
Thank you.
Okay. If you could transfer the first caller. Hi, caller. Please start with your comments. You have 2 minutes.
Good morning, supervisors. My name is Kevin, and I live a few doors down from a property in the county located at 7104 Santa Juanita Avenue. And I'm calling in because it's come to my attention that the new owners of this property are proposing to run a 50-bed drug and alcohol rehabilitation center on my residential street. I personally have 4 mules that live on my property. It's an agricultural, traditional use of land in this area, and they're going from nothing. It's been no use for the past 8 years to a 50-bed drug and alcohol rehabilitation center with no notice, no input from the neighbors, and they're trying to blow this past the county as a continuation of the prior use, which was a non-ambulatory 20-bed care center. And that's a big change. It's too much traffic. There's children on. There's a daycare right across the street. There's a school in the area, and we already have multiple care facilities on our street. We've done enough we've done our part on our street to help out people who need care, advanced care. Let this use go somewhere else in the county, not on my street. So that's opposition to the expansion and change of use at 7104 Santa Juanita Avenue. And I hope the county will look into it and make sure that they're not they're in total compliance with the current use permit, and if they aren't, make them get a new one. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next caller, please. Hi, caller. Please start with your comments. You have 2 minutes.
Yes. My name is Rick Hodgkins. I live in Sioux Frost District, and I want the board as well as everybody to know that we need the board's support on Assembly Bill 1672, principally co-authored by Assemblymember Matt Haney, Democrat of San Francisco, and that what this bill does is it keeps the in-home supportive services program intact in terms of the services themselves will be administered by the county in terms of IHSS social workers and that type of thing. But that what this bill does is it removes and transfers bargaining power from the county level to the state level. And I would highly ask that this board support that bill. It passed the Assembly, if I remember right, it passed the Assembly 62 to zip and is on its way to the Senate right now as we speak. I heard this bill maybe a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago. And so please support this bill because the minimum wage is different in each county. And so this will, in my view, allow the state minimum wage to be higher than each county because everyone knows that the minimum wage here in Sacramento County sucks. Thank you.
And the final caller. Hi, caller. Please start with your comments. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Susan Goodman. Apologies for the speaker. I'm hearing impaired. I'm here to applaud the grand jury's report, which I read yesterday, on Sacramento's situation with mental health, the hopeless, homeless, and incarceration. It's an appalling but sadly not surprising report. I work with a group called Phase Me, which is family advocates for individuals with a serious mental illness, and I'm a caregiver. And the things that are in that report are exactly the things that we've been trying to get some attention for the past 5-6 years. So I'm sure you've all read the report. Please study it and please act on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes your public comments.
Okay, thank you. So now we will move on to our consent calendar, items 2 through 73, and I believe you have a couple.
Yeah, so for your consent matters, for item 19, you are adopting an ordinance to change the definition of a quorum for the Equal Employment Opportunity Advisory Committee by amending Chapter 2.27.070 of the Sacramento County Code. You waived reading on this on May 9th. And then for item 23, you're introducing an ordinance repealing Title II, Chapter 2.09.230 of the Sacramento County Code, solidifying the move of labor relations from the County Executive's Office to the Department of Personnel Services. We're asking that you waive reading and continue to July 19th for adoption. And that concludes the clerk's notes.
Okay, Thank you. Okay, now I'll turn to my colleagues to see if there are any comments or questions about the consent calendar. And I don't see any, so then we will move to public comment on the consent calendar.
Okay, so we do have some folks who are in person. We have Debbie Woolley for item 2 and David Magnina for item 56. And then that would be it. And let me put that up.
Is that David Magnino?
Magnino, yes. I'm sorry, but it's however it got typed in the system.
Tomato, tomato.
Yeah, I'll see if they can fix it, but it's however they typed it in. My apology. Ms.
Thank you,
Woolley?
Flo.
Is Miss Woolley here?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I didn't. That's fine, dear. Take your time. I didn't see you. Sorry. Okay.
Good morning, Debbie.
Good morning, Supervisors. Hey, I just wanted to, as our continuing wanting to be advocates of the Board of Supervisors and be part of the liaison group, we would like to thank you so much for getting the agenda out on Thursday. The last couple of times, it's given us 24 more hours to read it, and those 24 hours were awesome. I just wanted to thank you so much. And the clerks, I know they're the ones that are doing most of the work. This is our government. We, the people, need to participate. It's our duty, our civic duty, to be here. So that's my purpose, is to be here to ask questions. I have 2 questions on the consent calendar today, actually 3. There are 72 consent items, and I just wanted to know, 16 of them are about the health topic, and of those health topics, they are over $500 million. There's $616 million on the consent calendar for under the topic of health. If I'm incorrect, I will stand corrected. But my question is, we just passed a proposed budget last week, right? So my question is, why is all this on the consent calendar? Why wasn't it included in the budget? And is this $6.6 million included in the proposed budget? Because that was $8.4 billion. Those are my questions today. Thank you.
So thank you, Debbie. And I think that this came up in some discussions during our board briefings yesterday. I'm going to look to our county exec to explain a little bit about some of these consent item matters that are very large dollar figures.
Yes, thank you, Supervisor Desmond. Ann Edwards, County Executive. So there are multiple items on the consent calendar today which have very large dollar amounts. And yes, all of those dollar amounts were in fact included in the recommended budget last week. And they are continuing contracts. So we have many, many contracts, and particularly in the health department, so much of the work that they do is contracted out to community-based organizations. And so once the budget is approved, we bring back the contracts, the renewing contracts, in a bundle, so we don't have to bring 30 different contracts or more. So we put them all together in one item, and it is routine because it's continuation of contracts from last year.
Thank you. So those big dollar figures are not new money that the board is approving today. It was approved as part of the budget, but thank you for bringing that forward.
Okay, next is David.
Well played. Slow.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. It's not the first time. Good morning, Chairman Desmond and Supervisors. My name is Dave Magnino, and I am your current administrator for the county's Emergency Medical Service Agency. This morning, in the consent item, you approved item number 56, which requests the EMS agency to establish a contract with the Permanente Medical Group for a new permanent EMS medical director. This morning, I'm pleased to introduce, please allow me to introduce Dr. Gregory Can as our new EMS medical director. I will waive the rest of my time to him, and thank you.
Thank you, Dave, and good morning.
Good morning, Board. So I rise today with a twofold intent.
We'll give you a full 2 minutes, by the way, if you want.
Thank you for that. So the first is to thank Dave and the rest of the selection committee at the Sacramento County EMS Agency for my selection as the incoming medical director for the county. The second is obviously for me to have an opportunity to introduce myself to all of you, because I think we're going to be working closely together during my tenure as the medical director for the county. So I am an active emergency physician here in Sacramento County. I'm a resident of the county, actually in District 5. I come to this new role with 4 years of experience down in the foothill communities of Amador, Calaveras, Alpine, and Mariposa counties, in addition to Stanislaus County, where I served in my incoming role down in those communities. Over that time, we were able to implement many innovative new programs and bring a lot of energy to some of the challenges that exist within the 911 system in the state, and particularly here in Sacramento County, namely ambulance patient offload times and some of the critical problems that exist within our county. I deal with these firsthand as an emergency physician, and I come to this job, this new role, with an energy and a drive to try to make change and to work with the folks at the EMS agency and to all of our partners in the EMS community in the county and all of you, so that we can move our 911 system into a healthier place and to make it more efficient for all of your constituents. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you and welcome.
Okay, that concludes your public comments, and we do not have any phone calls at this point, so I'm going to close the phone queue as well.
Okay, then I will bring it back to the board. Don't see any board members in the queue. I'd entertain a motion on the consent calendar. Chair will second. Please vote.
Unanimous vote with those members present.
Okay, thank you. So now we'll move on to item 74.
Okay, for item 74, this is the presentation of Service Award recognizing Carol Smith for 35 years of service with Sacramento County.
And looks like, so I think Carol's cousin, Garth Lewis, former Yolo County Superintendent of Schools, is that correct? Current. Sorry.
Don't tell me something I don't know. It was a long drive over here.
And I think Sue and Mr. Amandero, you want to come on down too? Yeah. Thank you guys so much. I just wanted to quickly thank you all. I know it's been a rough morning already, so I'm the intermission, so we'll do some celebration instead. I literally wrote this down so I could say thank you to my family for being here and my friends, my coworkers who would be listening in, for all the wonderful support for 35 years. And yes, we had different labor laws back then. It's my running joke. I've seen many changes in the last 35 years, but the one consistent thing has always been the resiliency of our staff, right, Ann? The ability to change and to grow. Working for the government is a delicate task, right? It is seeing and weighing the needs of all of our customers, the ones for whom we provide the service for, the community for who we do it on behalf of, and the ones that we perform this service with. I had a moment where I wrote some of my pet projects down: Job Club, Birth and Beyond, Black Child Legacy, Phoenix Park MDT, SWIMS, which is our social worker information management system, morale committees at the various offices I've worked at, and our wonderful Opportunity Knocks program, our mentorship program for whom it was children that were truant that I'm still in contact with. Funny enough, some of them are in their 30s now. They were 16 in the program. Don't know how that happened either. So much history. When I started, we did LMI and MBI paper forms had to be a red pen or it was rejected. Then we went to these little machines on our desk, and then we went to code books with CalWIN, and now we're preparing for CalSAWS, right? As part of the CNCs, which is the Change Network Champions with CalSAWS, I get a good insight, and so we're excited. I won't add relatives that I know that work for certain places. What I have learned, though, however, throughout all these years is best practices, that we have to encourage innovation, we have to take initiative, communicate, and make plans that have deliberate, deliverable, timely outcomes. Lastly, it's not about creating teams with just like-minded people, people that have similar tastes, opinions that are similar, but instead we have teams of diverse, creative thinkers with a shared purpose, service, which you guys are here for. Thanks for a career that has enabled me to be a part of that wonderful purpose to change lives for the better. Thank you guys so much. Quick pick.
And now does the current Yolo County Superintendent of Schools have any comments to share?
You bet, I do. And good morning, Chair Desmond and supervisors. On behalf of our family, certainly it's an honor for me to be here to congratulate Carol on 35 years of service. Every time I hear 35 years, I'm like, where did the time go? Certainly, my first memory of meeting Carol was when she and her sister immigrated here from Jamaica. And it was the first time I ever heard not four-letter, but a four-syllable word come out of the mouth of a teenager, and it was the word aggravating. I won't tell you the full story because her sister's in the room, but I will share that level of care, the intelligence, as she is speaking about the projects that she's worked on here on behalf of the County of Sacramento, it's very apparent that it spills over not just from our family, but into the work that you do on behalf of those that you serve. I do have to draw attention to the fact that, in my opinion, you hold and represent all that I know your parents wished for you, for your family. Uncle Horace and Aunt Marjorie have left an indelible mark on my heart, certainly. And I just want to express appreciation for all that you do and for making us as a family feel seen and valued. And I have to bring attention to the fact that you always give the most thoughtful gifts also. So on behalf of our family, congratulations to you on these 35 years of achievement and impact for those that you serve. And to the County of Sacramento, you all are very fortunate to have her with you for this amount of time and for her to aim her gifts, talents, and energy in the work that she's done. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, get on in the picture.
Come over here.
Great job. Oh, good. We're good.
Okay, now take a deep breath.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, and Carol, thank you for your service. I mean, I really think that it is a testament to Sacramento County that we have so many extraordinary people like you who have served our community for so long. So thank you, and thank you for your words and certainly wisdom gained from a very long and fruitful career. Okay, so we'll move on to item 75.
Okay, item 75 is the presentation of resolution recognizing Patricia Roberts upon the occasion of her retirement.
Okay, Sylvester, you're going to present. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Sylvester Fadal, Director of Personnel Services. While sitting there a second ago and just listening to the very last recognition, and Patty Roberts standing in front of you, I recognize from 2 employees the county has had 70 years of service. And that's a testament to the fact that Sacramento County not only impacts the community, but this is certainly a great place to work. So, Patty, I stand before you in recognition of Patty's 35 years of service to the county. And interestingly, Patty is one of 4 generations from the same family that has actually worked for the county. 49 years ago, Patty's grandmother, Jane Phillip, received a similar Board of Supervisor resolution and recognition when she retired from the county. Is Jane with us here today?
No, she passed away in 2015.
Thank you. May her soul rest in peace, and we would always recognize her for her service. Jane worked for the coroner's office. Patty's mom, Nancy Phillip, also retired from the county and worked with the library system. Patty's daughter, Melissa Riggs, currently works for the Department of Health Services in the Public Health Division. So there you have it, 4 generations, an amazing service to the county. So we truly owe you guys a great depth of recognition for what you've done. Gratitude on our part. Patty started as an on-call library assistant in 1988, worked in almost every branch within the library system as an on-call employee before becoming a permanent employee at the Rancho Cordova Library in 1990. She joined the Department of Health and Human Services as a human resources personnel clerk in 1993. Patty promoted to senior office specialist in 1999, then to personnel technician in 2000. Patty supported the DHS and DCFAS for 30 years of her illustrious career. She takes great pride in working with the department and also supported the probation department through the process. Patty supervised the Department of Health and Human Services payroll unit from July 2000 to August of 2010. She spent 17 years total with the DHSS payroll unit as a payroll specialist, then promoted to a payroll supervisor before transferring to the hiring unit. Over the years, Patty received commendations from various payroll and hiring special assistant teams, such as DTEC, the WIC, which is the Women, Infants, and Children's Group, and Mental Health Integrated Services Agency. She also received recognition from DHSS employees for her payroll and timesheet support. She was such a guru in this field that when questions came up, everyone just said, go talk to Patty.
And they still do, but not for long.
Yeah. In 2005, Patty was recognized for going above and beyond in assisting the Division of Mental Health with the FEMA grant to provide services to the Hurricane Katrina evacuees in the Sacramento region. Patty provided the payroll process and sample timesheets so the mental health leadership team could reconcile salaries to grant. She's participated in various projects, including the Compass team, upgrading several projects, being the subject matter expert in a lot of areas. Patty is often the go-to person. I mean, this was a long list of recognitions consolidated into 2 pages. And you can imagine what Patty's done over the last 35 years. Patty, in retirement, is looking to spending more time with her family and grandson, Max, expanding her chef small business, traveling, taking pictures and scrapbooking, and redecorating her home. Please, I would really want to recognize Patty, and on behalf of the County of Sacramento, the executive team, the leadership team, your colleagues that I see right behind you, and the Board of Supervisors. Patty, your turn. Congratulations.
Thank you so much for this honor. It's hard to believe that, when I married a coworker, my husband Ken, when I worked for a photography studio, and I had to go find a job. The library was hiring provisionally because they were looking for on-call library assistants, and here we are 35 years later. I've been very fortunate to work in HR for 30 years. and have made a ton of friends. And I'd like to thank some of my coworkers who are here. Our hiring team is all here. And then some of my former managers and coworkers and current managers. And it's been just a really great career. Thank you.
Well, please, anyone you want to come down to the lectern for a photo, please do. Thank you. Patty, thank you also for your service. You are obviously leaving an indelible mark on the county, and thank you for just amazing service to all of us here. And you will. I'm sure people will still take advantage of having access to your personal cell phone. So.
Yes, they do. And
Sylvester.
And I've already been told, I'm just going to call you. I'm just going to text you.
Okay. So now we'll move on to item 76.
Okay. And then for the record, we did not have any public comments on the past
sorry.
two
Thank you, Flo.
presentations. Not a problem. Item 76 is the resolution approving the fiscal year 2023-24 transient occupancy tax grant program funding recommendations.
Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning, Chair Desmond, members of the board. I'm Amanda Thomas, the county's Chief Fiscal Officer, and I'll be presenting the 2023-24 Transient Occupancy Tax, or TOT, grant program funding recommendations. As you know, the TOT grant program was approved in 2017 to provide financial support for community-based programs and services in Sacramento County through a competitive application process. With the budget approval last week, the board approved $1 million in fiscal year 2023-24 to fund the continuation of the TOT grant program for a 7th year. And this year, we are moving the grant period up to align with the county's fiscal year. So with the beginning of the grant period, July 1st and ending May 31st, 2024, to ensure that reimbursements are processed within the fiscal year. So of that $1 million, $500,000 is designated for the highest ranking applications as scored and recommended by panels of subject matter experts. And consistent with last year's awards, funding was allocated to each of the 4 subject areas according to the number of applications received in that category. And I'll show you what that distribution looks like on a later slide. And then the other $500,000 is designated for district discretion, with $100,000 allocated for each district. The application period for this year's grant program was February 10th, 2023 through March 13th, 2023. And then on February 16th and 17th, there were 3 workshops held to provide details about the program and answer questions from potential applicants. A total of 145 eligible applications requesting in aggregate $5.21 million in funding were received by the March 13th deadline. And I'd like to note that the number of applications received was about 40% more than the number of applications for the 2022-23 application period, which closed just 6 months ago. The subject matter experts reviewed proposals in each of the 4 subject areas that are listed here, and you can see that the category receiving the highest number of applications was Health and Human Services at 61, while Economic or Workforce Development received just 19 applications. After reviewing the applications, the subject expert panels convened in April and May to discuss, assign the scores, and develop funding recommendations based on the assigned scores. And then following the subject expert panel scoring, the TOT grant review panel met to discuss the subject expert panel recommendations and determine the final funding recommendations. And this panel includes 2 board members, Supervisors Desmond and Kennedy, and then the chiefs of staff representing the remaining 3 districts. So based on the subject expert panel recommendations, the TOT grant review panel recommends that the board award $500,000 to the highest ranking applications in each of the 4 activity categories as shown on this table. And then with the amounts per category proportionate to the number of applications received in each category, as I mentioned earlier. And then also recommends that these applications be funded at the amounts that are recommended by the subject expert panels as identified in attachment 1 to the board letter. And these amounts are generally up to 50% of the requested amount, but no less than the $5,000 minimum grant amount. And then in addition to the subject expert panel recommendations, the recommendation is to award $500,000 or $100,000 per district to applicants at each board member's discretion, and that's also identified in attachment 1. In terms of next steps, after today's action, we will be providing notification to applicants regarding approval of award, and we'll begin preparing the funding agreements. And applicants may request their score and panel notes on their application at any time. And this slide displays the recommended actions before you today. But before I conclude, I'd like to thank all the subject expert panelists, as well as the members of the TOT grant review panel for their contributions to developing the recommendations before you today. And I'd especially like to thank and recognize the hard work of Tina Kepke from our office, as well as our consultant, Shelley Willis, for their role in administering this grant program every year, but especially this year, coming so soon after the prior cycle and being so successful in attracting as many applications as we did. And while I get to stand up here and talk about this, of course, they're the ones that make it all happen, and they are both in the audience today, should you have any questions for them. And finally, I'd like to acknowledge especially Tina, because after 4 successful TOT grant cycles and many other accomplishments, Tina is promoting to a new role in the county with the Department of Homeless Services and Housing. While she will be missed greatly by both the TOT program and everyone in our office, we wish her all the best in her new role and are glad that she's not going too far away. So that does conclude my comments. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Amanda. I'll start with Supervisor Cerna.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'll start with expressing gratitude as well to everyone that was part of this year and that has been part of this over the years past. Starting with my colleagues, Supervisor Desmond and Supervisor Kennedy. Shelley and Tina, thank you for your service to help us be thoughtful about appropriating these scarce and rare discretionary dollars. When this process was first initiated, I think that inaugural year of the process, we had something like $17+ million. So it was something in terms of requests. And so, yeah. And so the oversubscription was obviously very, very significant. So you mentioned, Amanda, that it's this year the requests, if I heard you correctly, amounted to a 40% increase over last year.
So the number of applications was a 40% increase. Yeah, the dollar amount requested was about $5 million compared to about $3 million.
So it sounds like it's kind of settled down a bit since that first year. But again, I want to also thank my Chief of Staff, Lisa Nava. She certainly not only helps with the general pot of $500,000 that is really the subject matter of the Chiefs of Staff and our 2 colleagues and our consultant and Tina, but she helps significantly in terms of helping me think through the district TOT discretionary funds as well. I think this has really become a fairly model process in terms of, again, being fair. If I'm not mistaken, I believe we do take into account kind of past appropriations. So we kind of try to meter out where dollars flow within the community. And of course, as you mentioned in your report, Amanda, we look at different areas where the dollars are spread. So again, I would just want to congratulate everyone on a very successful process, and I am happy to move the item.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Cerna. We have a first and a second. Let me add my voice to the chorus of thanks. Certainly, Tina. Now, I'm finally starting to understand some of the nuances and complexities, and now you're leaving, moving on to something that's much more complex than certainly than this. But I wish you all the best, and thank you for all your hard work, and also thank the panelists. Certainly, with a much larger number of applicants this year, it gets harder for all of them, and I really appreciate their efforts. And thank you, Supervisor Cerna, for the comments. I mean, all the chiefs from the other offices, and certainly Supervisor Kennedy. I think we've had really great discussions and kind of fine tuning some of the procedures. So I think it is a very good process, really well thought out process. And I think it makes the county better and provides really essential support to a lot of our partners throughout the community. So just thank you again. Okay, any public comment on this item before we vote?
We do have a public comment in chambers, and we have one on the phone. So I will call Leticia Butron to the front counter.
Good morning.
Good morning. Do I start? Yes. Oh, hello, my name is Leticia Butron. I am here on behalf of Bridget Initiative International for the TOP program 2023-24. Bridges Initiative International will benefit in so many ways for the future of the shelter. In February 2023, I found myself homeless in the cold winter. I heard about the shelter and all they offer to the women and children. They accepted me and made me feel welcome. There are mothers with children, and the shelter has a home feeling. I feel honored to have a place called home. The staff provides all of our needs with resources. Please consider Bridging Initiative International to continue to serve us women and children when we are experiencing homelessness here in Sacramento. Sacramento only has less than a handful of programs or shelters for women and children. We will be able to keep offering this beautiful shelter to them in their time of need. Because of this shelter, I have a place to call home. I found a job, I have a car, and I see a brighter future. Please consider us for the TOP 2023-24 Bridging Initiative International. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and we'll go to our phone line. Hi, caller. Please start with your comments. You have 2 minutes.
Hello, Supervisors. On behalf of Pride Industries and the I Am Able Employment Helpline, I wanted to express our deepest gratitude for your support. This grant will empower people with disabilities to connect to vital resources that they need to become job ready. These employment opportunities will change the lives of the individuals with disabilities as well as their family members as they become more independent. Again, thank you for enriching your community.
Thank you. Okay. And that concludes your public comments for the phone and in person, and I'll close that now.
Okay, and we have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Unanimous vote with those members present.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay, moving on to item 77.
Right in the nick of time. Okay, this is County Service Area 1. Conduct a public hearing on the fiscal year 2023-24 service charges, confirm the engineer's report, and adopt a resolution setting service charges for fiscal year 2023-24.
Good morning, members of the Chair Desmond, members of the board. My name is Lupe Rodriguez. I'm the chief of our Maintenance and Operations Division with the Department of Transportation. So today we're here to present the CSA 1 proposed fiscal year 23-24 service charges. The CSA 1 funds maintenance and operations and electricity costs for safety lights and street lights in the unincorporated Sacramento County. The standard service charges rates were frozen since passage of Proposition 218 back in 1996, And so since then, the regular street lights and safety lights have been fixed and not been able to be updated to new standards. But in 2006, the board approved the enhanced and decorative service charges with some inflation provisions. And then these inflation factors are basically based on the CPI index or the SMUD electrical service rate increases, it has a ceiling of 5% though. And based on the CPI index this year, the proposal for the increase is at 4.9% for fiscal year 23-24. The proposed service charges, comparing the 2 fiscal years shown, we have a table in the board letter that shows the regular service rates that are not being increased versus the enhanced and decorative service charges. The total today, we have approximately just over 26,000 street lights and safety lights that are funded by CSA1, that they're owned by either the state, county, or SMUD. The county basically owns just over 25,000 of those, with about 90% we have already upgraded to LED. And we have still the 10% that we're working on trying to upgrade as funds become available. So we're incrementally working on trying to get it all completed, so we're working on that. And so we should be finished with that here pretty soon, because with all of the upgrades to LED, it has this energy savings that has really helped us with the funding for this program. So at this point, staff recommends we open the public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 23-24 service charges as set forth in the engineer's report, and we receive public comments and then close the public hearing. And after, we could adopt the attached resolution confirming the engineer's report and establishing the fiscal year 23-24 service charges for safety and street lighting services provided by CSA1. And that concludes my quick presentation. So if we have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Lupe. And before we open the public hearing, I'll turn to Supervisor Hume.
Thank you, Chair, and that was a quick presentation, so I'll provide a quick question, if I may. On 2 of the service charge line items, the street and safety light non-residential, it is calculated at a per front foot rate. Is that a lineal foot for the size of the parcel, or?
Correct.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. And with that, open the public hearing. Do we have any public comment?
We do not, so I'll close the queue.
Okay, public hearing has been opened and closed.
Move approval.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please vote.
Unanimous vote with those members present.
Okay. Thank you, Lupe.
Thank you.
Okay, it is 10:36. We have closed session, I believe. So we will recess to close.
Could we please do the nominations first?
Oh, I'm
we
sorry.
have delay of getting the attorneys here for closed session. We're moving too fast this morning.
County Counsel Travis.
Okay, that would be item 83. And you are continuing to July 25th, the Developmental Disabilities Planning and Advisory Council, Maternal, Child, and Adolescent Health Advisory Board, Sacramento County Commission on the Status of Women and Girls. You're continuing to August 8th, the Assessment Appeals Board, Children's Coalition, Casumnas Area Community Planning Advisory Council, Local Child Care Planning and Development Council, and the Veterans Advisory Commission. And for today's items, for the Adult and Aging Commission,
Chiefs recommend nominating Deborah Larson, continuing the remainder to August 8th.
then we have Carmichael Recreation and Park District.
Please reappoint Joel Levine, continue remainder to August 8th.
Community Review Commission, Mr. Cerna.
District 1 will reappoint Paul Curtis.
Thank you. Next, we have the Disability Advisory Commission.
Chiefs recommend continuing to July 25th.
Thank you. Mission Oaks Recreation and Park District.
Please reappoint Michael Alcalay and reappoint Robert Evans.
Thank you. And then we have North Highlands Foothill Farms Community Planning Advisory Council. Mr. Cerna.
Please continue to August 8th.
August 8th, got it. And then Mr. Desmond.
Please continue to July 25th.
And then Ms. Frost.
Please continue to August 8th.
Okay, got it. Orangeville Community Planning Advisory Council, and this would be Ms. Frost.
Yes, I nominate Bradley Miller, please.
Okay. And we'll continue the remainder to August 8th. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Okay. And Public Health Advisory Board.
Chiefs recommend nominating Alex Schmalz and Catherine Stradelli and Rachel Weinreb. Continue the remainder to July 25th.
Okay. Sacramento County Behavioral Health Youth Advisory Board, Mr. Cerna.
Please continue to August 8th.
And for Mr. Kennedy, I have a note to continue to July 11th. And then Mr. Desmond
Please continue to August 8th.
and Mr. Hume.
Also continue to August 8th.
Okay, thank you. Sacramento County Mental Health Board, Ms. Frost
Please continue to August 8th.
and Mr. Hume.
Also continue to August 8th.
Okay. Sunrise Recreation and Park District, Mr. Desmond
Please reappoint Suzanne Ewell.
and Ms. Hume.
Beg pardon?
Miss?
Miss Frost.
I definitely
meant Ms.
wasn't going to
Frost.
answer
I'm so
that.
sorry. I meant Ms. Frost. I apologize respectfully. I'm so sorry.
I nominate David Huber.
And then would you like to continue the remainder to August 8th?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and then finally, we have our Vineyard Area Community Planning Advisory Council. For Mr. Kennedy, we're continuing to July 11th. Mr. Hume.
I would like to nominate Matthew Avila and continue the remainder to August 8th.
August 8th. Okay, thank you so much. And please accept my apology. Okay, that concludes your nominations.
Okay. Should we delay convening in closed session till 11
I think
o'clock?
until 11, if that's
11
okay
o'clock.
with you. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll recess the open session, and we will convene for closed session at 11, and then reconvene in the public session at 2 p.m.
On the second floor.
On the second floor, yes, closed session, second floor.
So are we coming back down here to reconvene?
Okay, good afternoon. It's 2:01, and I'll call this meeting back to, or the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors back to order, and ask the clerk to please call the roll to establish a quorum.
Okay, good afternoon, Supervisors Cerna.
Here.
Frost. Hume.
Here.
Desmond.
Here.
And you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. We'll go right into our afternoon calendar, item 78.
Okay, so this one's a long one. I need to read in all the properties and their APN numbers. So this is the resolutions of necessity authorizing eminent domain actions to acquire real property for the South Watt Avenue Improvement Project. There are 9 properties, and I'll just read them off. UA Local Number 447 Pension Fund, located at 0 South Watt Avenue. This APN is 064002048. Stockton and 65th LP, a California Limited Partnership, 7001 South Watt Avenue, APN 06400800043. PW Fund B LP, a California Limited Partnership, located at 6003 88th Street, APN 06200600098. Wayne W. Rogers, a single person, located at 8905 Alder Avenue, APN 06200440002. American United Investments Group, LLC, a California Limited Liability Company, 8880 Fruit Ridge Road, APN 06200800057. Terry Lee Morris, a single man, 6326 Turner Road, APNs 06200600034 and 06200600035. SLR Logistics Incorporated, a California Profit Corporation, 0 South Watt Avenue, APN 06200600038. 7-Eleven Incorporated, a Texas Corporation, 5550 South Watt Avenue, 06300533012. And Tony Hong and Kelly Hong, husband and wife, and Bryant Lee Bryant S. Lee, a married man, as his sole and separate property as tenancy in common, 5300 South Watt Avenue, APN 06300530017. The environmental document is a final supplemental environmental impact review. And I do want to let the board know that you will need to take 9 separate actions for these properties.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Flo.
Florence.
Good afternoon, Peter.
Good afternoon, Supervisor Desmond and all members of the board. I'm Peter Hannon, Program Manager with the Real Estate Division. And I'm here today to introduce this item, which recommends board approval for 9 resolutions of necessity authorizing eminent domain actions to acquire real property interests for the Department of Transportation's South Watt Avenue Improvement Project. Before I begin my presentation, I'd like to say there has been a recent development regarding the resolution number 3 for PB Fund B LP, a California limited partnership located at 6003 88th Street. The owner has provided the necessary signed acquisition documents to the Real Estate Division, and the county has fully executed the necessary documents. Therefore, I would ask the board to drop the resolution for PB Fund B LP at 6003 88th Street. Thank you. So the purpose of the project is to modify South Watt Avenue from State Highway 16, also known as Jackson Highway or Jackson Road, at the north to Florin Road at the south, a distance of approximately 3 miles. The project will widen South Watt Avenue from 2 to 4 lanes and construct complete street improvements, including landscape medians and turn lanes, buffered bike lanes, sidewalks, curb ramps, traffic signal modifications, and pavement repair and resurfacing. The project will provide improved bicycle, pedestrian, and transit facilities, as well as congestion relief, enhanced safety, and aesthetic improvements within the South Watt Avenue corridor. Of the 74 necessary acquisitions required for this project, 9 properties are the subject of this board item. At this time, I'd like to display attachment 3 to this board's item. This is the list of properties, each of which this is the list of properties. Each of the individual property necessaries, easements, and the corresponding easement areas are shown in square feet. So I'll get into number 1. This is for UA Local number 447 Pension Fund, dated March 28th, 1985, located at 0 South Watt Avenue. The real property interest the county seeks to acquire consists of an easement for public utilities and public facilities and a temporary construction easement needed for the project across a portion of the affected property. Number 2, Stockton and 65th LP, a California limited partnership located at 7001 South Watt Avenue. The real property interest the county seeks to acquire consists of an easement for public utilities and public facilities and a temporary construction easement needed for the project across a portion of the affected property. Number 3, again, PB Fund, California Limited Partnership. We are dropping that resolution. Resolution number 4, Wayne W. Rogers, a single person located at 8905 Alder Avenue. The real estate property interests the county seeks to acquire are an easement for public roadway and public utilities, an easement for public utilities and public facilities, and a temporary construction easement needed for the project across a portion of the affected property. Number 5, American United Investments Group, LLC, a California limited liability company located at 8880 Fruit Ridge Road. The real property interest the county seeks to acquire consists of an easement for public roadway and public utilities, an easement for public utilities and public facilities, and a temporary construction easement needed for the project across a portion of the property. Number 6, Terry Lee Morris, a single man located at 6326 Turner Road. The real property interest the county seeks to acquire consists of an easement for public utilities and public facilities and a temporary construction easement. Number 7, SLR Logistics Incorporated, a California profit corporation located at 0 South Watt Avenue. The real property interest the county seeks to acquire consists of an easement for public utilities and public facilities and a temporary construction easement across a portion of the affected property. Number 8, 7-Eleven, Inc., a Texas corporation located at 5550 South Watt Avenue. The real property interest the county seeks to acquire consists of an easement for public roadway and public utilities, an easement for public utilities and public facilities, and a temporary construction easement needed for the project across a portion of the property. Number 9, Tony Hong and Kelly Hong, husband and wife, and Brian S. Lee, a married man, as sole and separate property, as tenants in common, located on 5300 South Watt Avenue. The real property interest the county seeks to acquire consists of an easement for public utilities and public facilities and a temporary construction easement needed across a portion of the property. The county obtained appraisals for the affected properties from an independent appraiser and presented offers to the respective property owners for the purchase of the various easement interests I just mentioned and that are displayed on attachment 3. The county's negotiations with these remaining owners have reached impasse. The county is thus unable to secure the necessary easement interest on the subject properties, and anticipated eminent domain actions will provide for possession of the required real property interest and construction of the project while the county proceeds to acquire the easements through eminent domain if necessary. Information to support the required statutory resolution of necessity findings is contained within the staff report included with the agenda packet, along with a history of owner contacts. Notices of intention to seek approval of the resolutions of necessity were mailed to the respective property owners by registered mail and standard U.S. mail at least 15 days before today's hearing. If you have any questions regarding the project or any of the properties in question, I or other team members here present are available to address those concerns for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Supervisor Hume.
Thank you, Chair. Peter, I see that in the staff report that we're in the final design and acquisition phase. What is the scheduled construction phase? When does that set to start?
If the project goes well and we forward through with the necessary acquisitions, I believe 2024 will be the start of this project's construction.
Okay, and can you tell me whether or not negotiations with Union Pacific Railroad have concluded regarding the crossing of Watt Avenue at the central traction lines?
They have not. We have not had the valuation done for those 3 parcels for the railroad. That is to come in later, at a later date. We're currently looking to get those valuations done, and there's some work to be done between transportation and the railroad to create the design that is acceptable to both parties. So we have not been able to make an offer yet.
Okay, so that's moving forward parallel to this effort here, but is not subject to an eminent domain proceeding at this point.
Correct, and it looks like Steve is going to come up and speak more to the process with the CTC. So.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Supervisor Hume, members of the board. Sorry to interrupt, Peter. I did want to just chime in. We are working very closely with, actually it's Caltraction, which is an arm of CCT. We engaged with their consultant, RailPros, which the board approved an agreement with. Right now, we're targeting a Thanksgiving deadline to have an agreement in place with the railroad. And at this point, we don't envision, taking them through eminent domain is fraught with peril. So we're trying to come
I believe
up with
they have more powerful eminent domain proceedings than we do, so
they
that's
have
probably a good
clout.
idea.
So they've been working well with us, and that is tracking very well. And then just to your question on schedule, as Peter said, we're looking to be in a position to start this project by the end of May next year. So we would be advertising and breaking ground before at some point in the summer of 2024, with construction, ongoing into 25.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Hume. And Peter, just clarify for the public, and you mentioned it, but this is a procedural necessity to do this now so we can proceed with the eminent domain proceedings if necessary. But the hope is that that won't be necessary, correct?
That is correct. We always will continue to negotiate in good faith with owners, even post-RON, to work out and negotiate an acceptable settlement agreement with the owners. So this is, again, just procedural. Steve just spoke to the timing of the project, which is very critical for this, and hence why we are taking this action today.
Thank you. Yeah, because eminent domain proceedings are not something that this board ever takes lightly. So, and out of the property owners, I was looking at the contact list. How many of them, or are there some property owners listed here who you just have had no contact with at all?
Essentially, we have had increased contact as a result of the owners, in particular cases, receiving the hearing notices. So that seemed to have prompted some response. So I've made some notes to the board via a executive summary that was passed along that had the latest and greatest on each one of those. So yes, all owners, I think, on today's action now have spoken with the county in some sort of meaningful way. But that has only been occurring in certain cases, again, for the last couple of weeks. And so because we put these materials, weeks and weeks in advance together to present to you, there's been some last minute changes and contacts from the owners. So.
Certainly with respect to number 3, PW fund.
Yes,
right.
that's correct. They just signed that agreement and we inked it, last week. So again, allowing us to drop them today. So.
Okay. Thank you. I don't see any other supervisors queued up to speak. Do we have any public comment on this item?
We do. So we have one person in chambers and we have 2 in the queue. So if we could have Glenn Sorensen come up, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Supervisor Desmond, members of the board. I am one of the partners in the Stockton and 65th Partnership, and we'd like to commend the county for what they're doing here. I think it's going to be a great addition, to the whole neighborhood. And we are in contact with members of, is it Peter? Yes. Of Peter's board. So we'll have a phone call with them this Thursday. The only reason I came here this afternoon is we have a tenant on our property who's been a residential tenant since, the mid-2000s, 2004 or 5. And the access to her property is about 15 feet wide. And I actually sent a letter in, but it's, it's a gravel road. And the appraiser believes that during construction, I'll mention what we got. And this is only according to the appraiser, not to county staff. But it said, speaking about the easement area, the loss of use of this area may impact the subject's driveway, but it is our understanding that access will be maintained over at least half the driveway at all times during construction. So for all of us that drive, 15 feet divided by 2 is 7.5. And so if you've ever pulled into a compact parking spot, that is about what the tenant would be trying to travel across a ditch. And so my only request would be that as a condition of approval, that the group that is doing the construction simply maintain a 15-foot ability for the tenant to ingress and egress the property they rent. And that is my sole request. We have no objection to the proceedings of eminent domain. And I believe we'll reach, a resolution with county staff.
Thank you. Thank you, Glenn, and a couple supervisors with comments. Supervisor Cerna.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Glenn, for being here this afternoon. So can you enlighten us a bit about the geometry involved with this access way? I assume it's perpendicular to South Watt?
It is, yes, sir. It is perpendicular. Okay. And so I actually have exhibits for staff if somebody would like them. But
actually, you can throw them up on the overhead here so we can.
A fairly large format of.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a really bad camera phone shot that I've blown up.
So I guess my maybe it's a question best for Steve to address, but if it's perpendicular, I'm just wondering why would we actually need to block half of that gravel drive entrance and exit? I mean, I could understand more so if there was some need to be concerned over access that was parallel to Watt, but I don't get the geometry involved when it's a perpendicular access way.
Yes, sure.
So it is perpendicular to Watt, but we also have a 10-foot temporary construction easement across the entire property. So with that 10-foot easement, we can basically bring them into the driveway across that easement as needed. And part of our standard construction specification that's going to be part of our contractor's contract when we go to build this is he is required to maintain access to all residential properties at all times. So exactly how he's going to do that is up to him, but it's going to be a pretty easy thing to do with that 10-foot temporary construction easement across the front.
So just let me cut to the chase then. Is it seem acceptable to you then that at the right time this gets conditioned with some language that states that the width of the easement or the width of the access will be maintained?
We'd probably rather have 12 feet than 15 feet just to give our contractor a little bit of flexibility.
Okay.
But essentially, we would have an opening on Watt Avenue and some type of drivable surface across that TCE, filling in the ditch to get them to the driveway, and then we'd clean it all up at the end. Yeah. So I definitely understand your concern, and I recognize access being a big deal. This is the type of thing we do deal with on a regular basis, though, and we're very comfortable with that type of language.
But as someone who drives a 3/4-ton pickup, I can sympathize with the need to have something greater than 7.5 feet to access. So I will entrust to people that are smarter than me that they can take this concern under advisement and craft the right conditional language that preserves the ability not to, prohibit or otherwise encroach on the ability to access one's property.
We're very confident we can reach amicable language and agreement. Yeah.
Good. Great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Supervisor Cerna. Supervisor Hume.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to echo on the comments that you made as far as this board and certainly no government should take eminent domain proceedings lightly. But I want to just clarify for folks that may be watching or in the audience that, much to the what is maybe put out there as a common narrative. Sir, before you leave, what was his name? Glenn? Glenn? I just wanted to say that this is not a taking of someone's property. It is compelling the negotiation with a sense of urgency so that the project continues moving forward. And that last point that I just made is important because the fact that you're here and the fact that you're engaged is really all we're doing with these proceedings is we're saying, please negotiate with us. And to the point of my colleague, Mr. Cerna, it sounds like you've already started a negotiation and you just got the driveway from 7.5 feet up to 12 feet. So we're moving in a good direction here.
No, this is truly progress. But no, I really appreciate, the only reason I raised this was not county staff. This was simply my reading of something that was in the appraisal report.
Sure.
So all my dealings with county staff have been great. And, as they sometimes say, we are discussing price, but, as they sometimes say, we agree on everything except price.
Yeah. Right.
So thank you very much.
Thank you for coming out today.
Thank you, Supervisor Hume. Phones?
So now we have 2 on the phone, and I'll ask you to transfer the callers. Hi, caller. Please start with your comments. You have 2 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Doug Gravel. I am an outside attorney for 7-Eleven Inc., the owner of the property at 5550 South Watt Avenue. I have a May 25th letter that I understand is part of the agenda package, and I will not reiterate the points there as I trust supervisors have had an opportunity to review it. If there are any questions about that, I'm happy to answer those. I do wish to address one point, though. In the County Council's response that is also included in the packet, they noted that they cannot have a shorter period of the temporary construction easement because it would involve controlling the contractor's means and methods. I disagree, and I think the facts would bear out that requiring a contractor to complete work within a certain time period, whether it's 90 days, 120 days, or 180 days, as opposed to the unfettered right to come and go over 4 years, is not controlling the means and methods. It is no different than saying, contractor, you have the right to go on this part of the property, and you have to complete your work within 4 years. Or as is often the case, contractor, you need to complete your work during nighttime hours or certain hours of the day. So I would encourage the supervisors to send this RON back for further refinement and change with the county. The incentive for the board to do so is they need to, and I've pointed this out before, live or die with the RON as it is phrased. In other words, it is a 4-year temporary construction easement. They don't later get the option in the lawsuit of saying, oh, we want it to be a shorter time period if the court thinks this is overly aggressive. Now is the time to do so. Thank you.
Okay, next caller. Hi, caller. Please start with your comments. You have 2 minutes.
Hi, thank you. My name is Catherine Bishop. I'm from White Star Advisors. I'm here on behalf of UA Local 447 as their qualified professional asset manager. The subject address is 0 Watt Avenue. After reviewing the draft resolution and threshold findings before you today, we have no comments on the items except for our primary objection is to the county's valuation and the offer made for the easement interest on the subject property. We have received a separate appraisal, so we disagree as to the price. However, we understand that that amount is not an issue before you today. Also, we've previously, in a written correspondence in March of this year, requested that 2 paved ingress and egress curb cuts be added along the property on the Watt Ave side. We would like these curb cuts large enough for commercial vehicles to be put in and to go in and out of the property at the same time. To my knowledge, we've not received any response from the county's real estate division on those 2 matters, the price and the curb cuts. So that's what we'd be looking for. Thank you all for your consideration today and for your time.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes your public comments.
Okay, Supervisor Cerna.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like someone, I don't know who's best to do this, but someone to respond to those 2 concerns that were just expressed by phone.
Supervisor Cerna, to the second caller. Yeah, so first off, on the appraisals, we are far apart, but that doesn't mean we're not trying to meet in the middle somewhere. So those negotiations will continue. They have taken the action of getting their own appraisal, which helps because now at least we have 2 things to compare and talk about. So beyond that, we're going to continue to work with them in hopes of an amicable settlement. The 2 curb cuts, I'll confess that I was not aware of that request. And I'm not really prepared to offer that up today because this stretch of Watt Avenue, we do have limited access. The county paid to restrict the access on this segment, but we will discuss this internally, and certainly we're going to be back here in front of the board with other items, and we can certainly report back to individual board members or in session on it when this topic comes up again.
So in terms of today's expected action or requested action by the board as it relates to the RON on this property, is it so time sensitive that it makes sense to go ahead and move forward with this one based on what sounds like new information for our transportation staff to consider in terms of the curb cuts?
I don't think this RON is going to preclude us from including those curb cuts. So you can move forward with it today, and that topic can still be under consideration by the department and the property owner.
Okay, and then in terms of I think it was a representative for 7-Eleven, was that the first?
Yeah.
So can you address kind of what their outstanding concerns are?
There's, basically.
I mean, outside of price.
Yeah, so they were really speaking to the term of the TCE. And this is going to be a 2-season construction project, and we're still almost a year away from being able to advertise it. So hence the 3-year term. And we've had discussions with, county staff, not me personally, have had discussions with 7-Eleven over, basically the ask was, do all the work in 30 days. That's just realistically not something the county can even consider. And we've always taken a very hard line at transportation to not lock our contractor into certain windows, especially on a project of this size. We acknowledge 3 years is a long time, but we also try to explain to the property owner that we're not going to be out there for 3 years. Yeah. And our contractor is required to minimize disruption to local residents and local businesses, and I think we've got a pretty good track record of doing that, and that certainly is going to be our goal on this.
But as a matter of kind of routine practice, though, in projects like this, I assume that those generous timeframes are there for things that just fall outside the control of the nature of heavy construction, i.e. the weather and other aspects.
That's part of it, but the other part of it is just the way that the contractor is going to phase the work. They're going to come in and do clearing and grubbing. Their sub's going to come in and do that. Then they're going to disappear for a while. So there's not going to be cones and occupying this TCE that entire time. Then they're going to come in and do the roadway X. Then the next guy is going to come in and place the You know.
I do. All right. I just thought it was important to make sure that those concerns didn't go at least somewhat addressed today and on the record. So I appreciate you coming to the podium.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Cerna. Supervisor Hume.
Yeah, I don't really have any questions or comments other than just saying, again, I think that the engagement of both of these property owners is what this action is intended to do, which is simply keep the conversation moving forward, hopefully, as you mentioned, towards an amicable end. And I agree that the temporary construction easement, what if something goes wrong, if the work doesn't take, if we have to come back and do a repair? I mean, it's not really like we're just going to keep the access tied up for the entire 3-year term.
Right, thank you. And I think there's one other caller, but it's a good discussion because, I mean, it just really to hit home the fact that this RON is necessary procedurally, but the discussion about price also includes a discussion about access, right? There has to be meaningful access to these properties. So, okay, we have one more public comment that slipped in.
We do, thank you. Please transfer the caller. Hi, caller. Please start with could you mute the meeting in the background? And then if you could start with your comments, you have 2 minutes.
Yes, hi. I just want to point out that you're using a power right now that is granted under the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, the power of government to seize property and provide just compensation to business owners for taking property at a market, at market cost. And while you're doing that for development of a much underinvested corridor, which should be developed and see more investment in, unfortunately, you don't use this power to actually provide to address the emergency crisis level situation that we have when it comes to homelessness, with hundreds and hundreds of properties sitting vacant for years on end all across Sacramento City and County and other areas of the county that you could be actually using this power to take up and develop into both permanent and affordable housing, but you simply don't. Because at the end of the day, this power you prioritize for economic development and businesses who often, when they're not whining about it cutting into their own property businesses, you are all bending over backwards to accommodate when it comes to them versus local residents. And you could be actually using that to take up a lot of this property that many of these business developers have just bought up at market rates, pennies on the dollar, and just holding for years on end as a tax subsidy, so that they can continue developing the suburbs out in the outer fringes of the county while taking money and tax dollars away from the inner cities. So as you're about to exercise this authority, it be wise of you and actually humane of you to consider using this power to address the crisis level situation of homelessness that has been blighting our county and causing hundreds of people to die every year on Sacramento County streets simply from inaction. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes your public comments.
Okay, Supervisor Cerna.
Thank you. Just to the last speaker's concerns, I just want to make it clear that our real estate folks have been very engaged, continue to be very engaged as part of our homeless services team to look for those properties. Doesn't always require the exercise of eminent domain to acquire or lease properties that can and should be used for the purpose of, I think we are in agreement, looking at how to add capacity in terms of making sure our unsheltered constituents have alternatives other than underneath an overpass or on the American River Parkway. And we have examples of that now, and I suspect we'll probably have even more examples in the months to come. So I just thought to put that on the record. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Cerna. Supervisor Hume.
I was just going to move on to moving the items, but do we need to take each item 1 through, I guess it would be now 8 separately?
Yes, and you also need a motion to drop that one item because it was agendized.
Okay, so I'll start with that one. I'll move to drop item number 3, the PW Fund B resolution of necessity.
Second.
Unanimous vote with those members present, and then we'll go back to item 1.
Okay, so now I will move to, and do I need to read each one of them into the record?
Do we have to do
Can we make one motion and then vote in 8 separate times? Well, no, I'm just curious instead of, just.
I would just read the number.
All right.
Okay. So for item 1, this is APN 0640020.
Okay, move.
Second.
Unanimous vote with those members present. Item 2, APN 06400800043.
Move.
Second.
Unanimous vote. And then for item 4, this is 06200440002.
Move.
Second.
Unanimous vote. For item 5, 06200800057.
Move.
Second.
Okay, unanimous vote. For item 6, there's 2 APNs. The first is 06200600034, and the next is 06200600035.
Move.
Second.
Unanimous vote with those members present. Item 7, 06200600038.
Move.
Second.
Unanimous vote with those members present. Item 7, 06300533012.
Move.
Second.
Unanimous vote with those members present. Final is 06300533017.
Move.
Second.
And thank you very much. Unanimous vote with those members present.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Steve. Okay, that'll move us on to item 79. So for item 79, 80, and 81, we're going to hear those consecutively. And I'm going to take public comment at the end of all 3 of those instead of taking public comment after each one.
Correct.
I know that item 81 does not require any action. That's just receive and file, I believe. But we need to take separate action on 79 and 80.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
And I'll walk you guys through that. So I'm going to read all 3 into the record now. Item 79 is receive and file the Sacramento Sheriff's Office Annual Military Equipment Use Report for 2023 and authorization for continued use of military equipment and to amend the inventory as changes occur and authorization to purchase and acquire military equipment in the future. In accordance with military equipment policy, you will need to take action on this item. Item 80 is to introduce an ordinance related to approval of a military equipment policy, waive full reading, and continue to July 11th for adoption, and adopt Directive 605 military equipment policy in accordance with California Assembly Bill 481 and authorize the department to purchase, acquire, and continue use of military equipment. You also need action on that item. For item 81, this is the AB 481 military equipment annual report and presentation. You do not need to take action on this item. So receive and file.
Okay, great. So then we will start with Mr. Jones.
Very good. Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair, Board of Supervisors. So I'm Eric Jones, Deputy County Executive of Public Safety and Justice. And I will, it's pretty much already been read what we're going to discuss right now, but I do want to just provide a little bit of context and overall summary as to why you're hearing these three items that are all related to Assembly Bill 481. But each had to be separately listed because each comes from a different specific agency or organization. So that's why these three items that were grouped together. Again, they all relate to AB 481, as it's called. So that's a requirement of a law enforcement agency to report their equipment that's classified as military equipment to their governing body, which is the Board of Supervisors. And so Board of Supervisors approval is necessary for the Sheriff's Office item, as well as the District Attorney's Office item, for approval of use of that equipment that they will be discussing here today and that you have in your paperwork. And really, I prefer the phrase tactical equipment because the term military equipment is what is listed in Assembly Bill 481, but much of the equipment in there are things like drones, aerial systems, less than lethal munitions, so they're not necessarily all about heavy weaponry and armored vehicles. There are a variety of other types of equipment that you've seen. And the goal of AB 481 is that each agency must be transparent about their inventory, as well as when it's used, why it's used, and the policy about its use. And so you'll hear a little bit more about that. And again, the first item, 79, is the Sheriff's Office. This is an annual update for the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office. They came before the board last year, and they are now coming back as they have to do each year to discuss their current equipment and also future equipment needs. Then you will hear item 80. And by the way, from the Sheriff's Office, you'll hear from Captain Beckwar, and then Lieutenant Noble is also here to discuss that further if needed. For the District Attorney's Office, this will be the first time they're coming to the board, and they will be discussing their less than lethal munitions that they're reporting on. And we will have Tiffany King from the District Attorney's Office to cover that. And then finally, item 81 is for the park rangers, a law enforcement agency, but you might be wondering why you're not voting on that one. The park rangers are not legally required to come before the governing body according to the code. However, in a discussion from the county executive's office as well as the park rangers, we felt out of just full transparency, it would be good for them to also report the equipment that they do have on inventory that relates to what is classified as military equipment. So with that, we'll move right into item 79, which is the Sheriff's Office, and I would invite Sheriff's Office Captain Beckwar to come up to the podium, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair, Board of Supervisors. Thank you for having me here. I'm David Beckwar, Sheriff's Captain, Sacramento Sheriff's Office, and I serve at Special Operations Division. I'd like to note that Sheriff Cooper, under Sheriff Ziegler, had intended to present personally, but out-of-town business pulled them away. So regretfully, they were not able to attend today. So I think we'll start with a short video presentation that gives some context to what we're going to talk about today.
Daniel, we want to resolve this peacefully. Come outside with your hands up and nothing in your hands. We're not leaving.
Yeah. It says, I have movement! Movement back! Beyond the stairs, movement on the ground!
Walk out with your hands up and nothing in your hands.
Put your hands up!
33, he heard you on 2.
We just got hit.
Yeah.
It just hit the Bearcat window, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he is shooting from that apartment.
Yeah, he's shooting from that window, that bottom window.
13, David, additional shot fired.
Back inside after seeing the rook. Shooting the rook.
All right. Okay, so I'll get right into the quick presentation that we have on AB 481 inventory for Sacramento County Sheriff's Office. And we'll begin with the items that we have had for some time, at least through last year, much of it historically a decade or more within our inventory. And then the last part of the presentation will be some new pieces of equipment we're looking to get. Okay, so UAS, or unmanned aerial systems, or most people refer to them as drones. We have a current inventory of 28 individual devices that we use. They all have similarities in function, but they vary in size and capabilities of what they can lift, the size and capability of cameras, the weight, the flight time, so on and so forth. But we use them typically for high-risk events to give us aerial visual when a helicopter is impractical, as well as community outreach and search and rescue. There's a multitude of other times, but what we don't use drones for is just random surveillance or out looking around without any point, specifically prohibited by policy. Robots, we have a current inventory of 9. Typically, these robots are used for our EOD or bomb squad detail, and they give us the capabilities to go in and disrupt packages, look at suspicious devices. We can manipulate them safely without having to use a human body and put them at risk of peril. Armored vehicles, we have 3. 2 of them are the Lenco Bearcats, which were featured in the video, as well as one Rook, which is essentially a Caterpillar tractor that has some armoring to it and gives us protection so that we can keep our folks safe, as well as conduct rescue operations, evacuations of innocent parties that are in harm's way.
Can I, excuse me, let me interrupt you. Supervisor Stern asked a question.
Thank you. In terms of the Bearcats and the Rook, I just want to be clear. I've actually had a chance to see for myself pretty up close the Rook out at the Sheriff's Department's facility. Do either of these have mounted gun turrets or any permanently affixed weaponry?
There's no permanently affixed weaponry. Any weaponry that would come with it would come with the personnel.
Okay, so it'd be on,
not the vehicle itself.
it would be on their person, on the deputy's person.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're not in the terms of like a tank or something like that. These are just, like I said, the Rook would be just an armored tractor, essentially a Caterpillar tractor. And then the Bearcat is just a larger personnel carrier that has armor on it to keep people safe.
And I assume both with ballistic glass?
That is correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So larger vehicles, we have one 5-ton truck outfitted with a dump bed that's military surplus and is capable of carrying a lot of heavy equipment, as well as 2 general Humvee military surplus vehicles. Those are not for operational use. Those are specifically used for community outreach. They're wrapped with all sorts of insignias used for youth services, as well as our canine group to do public outreach and demonstrations. Mobile Incident Command, we have a mobile booking trailer command vehicle, and which is like a tractor trailer semi, and then one Nomad tactical communications vehicle that we use at command posts for large-scale protracted events. Long-range acoustical device, or LRAD, we have 6 of these. It is originally invented as military technology. It's no longer new and novel. It's a technology that's widely available to public safety, and it allows for communication, audio communication that can travel a great distance, almost in a straight line, whereas sound in open air outside tends to disperse and it's hard to hear people. We can use these devices to reach out and have a clear voice to give commands when we're outside in open air. Less lethal launchers, shotguns, and rounds. As you can see, we have 69 different platforms, which are 37 millimeter and 40 millimeter. They operate the same way. It's more likely of the technology and when they were acquired. And those deliver a number of different munitions, as well as 588 less lethal 12-gauge shotguns. And what we did is we took the entire all of our shotguns that used to be lethal capable, and we converted them all to less lethal. So the Sacramento Sheriff's Office no longer uses the shotgun platform as a lethal device.
Okay, excuse me, Supervisor Cerna.
Thank you. I just learned from my colleague what an OC round is, but for the public's benefit, could you explain in layman terms what an OC round is?
OC, in the simplest terms, would be like pepper spray, and so it allows a delivery through a 37 millimeter or 40 millimeter device to put a round into a building, which utilizes a pepper spray aerosol.
Great, thank you.
Diversionary devices, we have 480 mini flashbang diversionary devices that we use for high-risk events, and they are essentially, as they sound, a real bright flash and a loud sound used as a diversion. Rifles and ammunitions, specialty firearms that we have, 24 .308 caliber rifles, 2 9mm MP5s, 75 .223 caliber rifles of varying barrel lengths, and 1 50 caliber rifle. Below that, you'll see the associated munitions that go along with those weapons platforms. Explosive breaching tools, we have 750 feet of detonating cord and 50 blasting caps. Obviously, these are under the use and purview of very highly specialized trained EOD technicians and SED or SWAT team breacher folks. This is not something that the average sworn officer would be using. And a lengthy list of pepper ball launchers and chemical agents. You'll see some reoccurring themes as you go down the list. I'm not going to read them all, but some of them you'll see again as CS. That is a type of chemical agent most commonly seen. If you've ever watched videos of us go through the academy, we're all in the academy, we're exposed to it. You go into a little room, you take your mask off, you say a few words until you end up coughing and not feeling great, you go outside and get some fresh air and clears it up. So that's the CS gas in simplest terms. Again, let's see. You'll see vapor aerosol, which is also like an OC type, or pepper spray, also known as sting ball grenades and tear ball grenades. Those have small rubber projectiles that come from them. One also has a little bit of chemical agent capability with it as well as smoke. And then pepper ball launchers that operate a lot like paintball. Now this portion of the PowerPoint is going to move on to new items put before the board for consideration and acquisition by the Sacramento Sheriff's Office. And many of them are going to be drone technology. So you see this first one here is a larger, much more capable drone, capable of a lift capacity of up to 10 pounds. As seen in the video, over the river, a drone of this size and capability will have the flight time to be able to deliver things like life jackets to somebody who's out in distress in a waterway. So there are different versions of the drone, of drones. I'll go through here. Here's another version of drone with increased capabilities for PA sound, higher resolution camera system, a number of different capabilities, as well as a longer flight time. Smaller drones, day and night camera capable, speaker attachment that gives the ability for audible announcements, search and rescue missions, public safety announcements for different incidents. Small micro drones that have the capability of flying through very tight spaces. They can go through a small hole in a window or between security bars on a window. This drone, similar drone to this one, was featured on the video where it landed on the dining room table and gave instant visual of a gentleman in the doorway there. And then one drone that's been proposed for donation to the Sheriff's Office. It's a DJI Inspire 2. Like I said, all the drones that we either have or we are proposing to acquire have different capabilities and different price points, so we do our best to try to be good stewards of taxpayer money. Obviously, if funds were unlimited, you could get a whole cadre of drones that have extended life, extended flight times, capability of lift, but in trying to maximize our deployment and also do our best to save money where we can, we get a whole different laundry list, or a laundry list of drones with different capabilities to try to hit the sweet spot between the two.
Okay, excuse me, one moment here. Supervisor Cerna.
Great, thank you. You mentioned earlier, as an example, the larger drone with a higher ability to, I think what he's mentioned was a 10-pound capacity, dropping a life preserver, for instance, to save someone that might be involved in a swift water rescue. That's one example where, I think it's clear it has a lot of benefit to actually save some lives here. But I just want to be clear, none of these drones, either the ones we have or the ones that are hoped to be acquired, especially the larger ones, could, should, or will be outfitted with any kind of weaponry.
We don't have any drones that are outfitted with weaponry,
Okay.
And we're not proposing to get drones that are outfitted with guns or anything like that.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Frost.
I was wondering on the small drone, could you just give me an idea of the size of the small one that can go through small places with your...
Sure, it's about the size of a fist.
Okay. And on the communications, you said you had communication tools that help you have more clarity. Do you have communication tools that can actually listen in on a conversation, and what situations would you use those? In what are the laws regarding that? How would you use something like that?
the drones would be used in some high-risk situations, such as in that instance, a gentleman had broken into a third-party residence and taken over, or similarly, a hostage rescue incident. So we'd be initially operating under emergency use, just like we would with some of our other equipment that we've traditionally used in high-risk events. And ultimately, it could be subject to use by search warrant when a reasonable amount of time allows for so.
I mean, I guess long-range acoustic device.
Sure.
Is that a drone?
No, a long-range acoustical device would be essentially a speaker.
Oh, okay.
Like a loudspeaker.
Okay,
So it's just a.
It's not a listening device.
It is not. No, it's just used for one-way capability, a microphone, and a very loud speaker, and it projects sound over a great distance outdoors, where a traditional speaker would be not as effective.
But drones are capable of listening only by virtue of video or something like that, correct?
Correct.
Or do they have a listening
It would just
capacity?
be like a audio-visual camera and a microphone.
Okay.
Same on the drone device. Some of them have them, yes.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. One more. Supervisor Hume.
Thank you, Chair. You might want to ask the drone manufacturers if they're able to elude a Tom Brady spiral, because apparently that's a consideration these days. He can pick them out of thin air.
From a yacht, no less.
From a yacht, no less, that's right. An unsteady platform. No, I just wanted to emphasize something that you mentioned in your presentation, which is, obviously, even with some of the pepper spray or the OC rounds, these are all intended to be non-lethal, and they're intended to be basically a safer alternative, certainly for our officers, but also for the folks that we're contacting to try and end the situation without loss of life on either side. And then in addition to that, I will say this, when I had the opportunity to attend the Get the Scoop with Coop event out at Rosemont Park, he had a various cadre of sheriff's vehicles out there, including the Bearcats. I don't think I saw the Rook, but he had the Humvees. And I mean, you want to talk about getting some kids excited, and they see the boats, and they see the helicopters, and they see the Humvees, and they see these other vehicles, and it just, it's kind of it's another way to get them fired up about potentially serving Sacramento County sheriffs. And so, I commend you all, and I'm very thankful that I don't get put in a situation where I have to have armament deployed between me and somebody else. So,
yes, thank you. And that's an excellent point on some of the tools that were presented here, both in the video and on the PowerPoint, is that we do seek to have a number of tools at our disposal. The greater amount of tools, especially those tools which are intended to bring about safe resolution without any harm, less lethal devices, so on and so forth. The greater amount of options at our disposal give us the greatest opportunity at a safe outcome for everybody involved. So thank you for that point. It is well taken.
Supervisor Cerna.
Thank you. Just to follow up on that last point, the video showed a Bearcat being used to evacuate, I think, civilians that were in harm's way, or maybe they're even hostages. But what about the Rook? Is the Rook, has it been used where you have civilians that are joining officers behind it to, backtrack and make a safe exit from an environment that is rife with, potential danger?
Excellent question, and yes, it has. The Rook has an attachment which was visible. It's a large, expansive shield up front that allows for a great deal of protection, and we have used that to move forward and extract and evacuate innocent parties. Where it's especially helpful and useful is that the front of that device, much like a Bobcat, has the ability to elevate and go to an upper level, and we have used that on a second story level to pull people out. We're able to open, much like a sliding door, that armament section and pull people through to safety and close the door and move them out of harm's way.
So I assume
we have practically used it in real life.
So I assume it has a fairly sizable platform, diamond plate platform of some sort, right?
It does. We can put a number of people there. We can start with a couple and add more as we're evacuating folks.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And a little bit, there's 3 items on this slide here. The top 2 are from the 12-gauge shotgun platform, the first one being a flashbang cartridge. There's no projectile with this, so we can imagine a 12-gauge shotgun typically has a projectile as used as a gun. This is just, again, a flashbang, which is a bright flash and loud sound. Number 2, is breaching rounds for a shotgun, so we can use those as one more tool in the tool belt for a breacher to get through a fortified barricaded door situation. And lastly, this is a change in a specialty type of .223 caliber ammunition. So we're looking to replace the Spear Gold Dot soft point .223 with, let's see. Yeah, the 5.56 53 grain tap rifle ammunition is to replace the Spear Gold Dot. And then some statistical data gathered from July of 2022 through December of 2022. So these are broken down by supervisor district, and also you have the zip codes associated, so it's kind of an overlay of the supervisor district with the zip codes. And then there are tally numbers, so you can see there's a handful, some of which have zeros. There's a couple of 1s and 2s. So this is starting with District 1.
Excuse me, Captain. Supervisor Cerna.
Thank you. I don't know what happened with the label, but Sacramento is clearly not spelled that way. I noticed that where there's a 1 up in the Natomas area, that is the city of Sacramento, so it's an incorporated area. So is some of this equipment, the non-lethal equipment, is it deployed at the request of other sister law enforcement agencies when necessary?
It is possible. It can be at the request of others. We could end up covering, so to speak, if the SWAT team for the city of Sacramento is unavailable. If they're on another incident, we would be backing them up and assisting them in their area.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
And same for the 2nd district. And 3rd supervisor district. Supervisor Frost in District 4. And lastly, 5th District.
Can I see it? Thank you for that. I'm sure there'll be some additional questions. On that, I don't see those maps. Were they in the staff report or part of the PowerPoint? They were, okay.
Yeah, they're on the PowerPoint.
They were part of the PowerPoint? Okay. And would we be able to drill down a little more information on each of those incidents, deployment, which type of equipment was utilized?
Certainly.
We'd be able to get that, okay. Or is it in the report somewhere?
We do have in the original report, let's see here.
So it's in the annual report, okay.
Towards the back in pages 31 and beyond.
And if I may, Chair, so yes, one of the requests of the board was to ensure that we're tracking these items that you saw the usage, the deployment of, and also demographic breakdown by the use of the equipment, which is in the report as well.
Right. Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
Get to that in there. That sure is, it's unfortunate. And you look at those deployments and how closely they track with some of our, environmental justice communities, really, certainly a sad commentary. Supervisor Cerna made me think of a point. The Sheriff's Department's the largest think, law enforcement agency in Northern California, and I know you participate in a lot of regional efforts and support other smaller agencies. Is some of this equipment, it's probably more necessary for that. Is that accurate because of the sheriff's role in support of other smaller agencies?
That's certainly a component of it, I would say.
Okay. And do we, in terms of the cost of maintaining any of the equipment, do we get any kind of reimbursement or contribution from other agencies that we assist as a county?
A lot of it is just by mutual aid request.
Okay.
I'm not aware of any reimbursement. I think that we take on that burden.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Let's see. I don't see any of the supervisors in the queue. Oh, Supervisor Frost.
Oh, I just wanted to thank you for the video. It really brought it to life. I don't remember ever having a video, and it helped me understand some of the equipment, so much appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I appreciate the question about the weaponization of drones. I mean, these are not drones that are made for that purpose, nor could they be used for that purpose, obviously. And you know, I remember being out there in, I think it was 2001, in that shooting in Rancho Cordova and Zinfandel and Folsom. Remember that? There was a suspect with an AK-47 that started shooting at several CHP officers, and some of my friends were hit by that. And I remember seeing the patrol car. It looked like Swiss cheese at the end of this thing. And I think about some of these tools today with this heavily plated vehicles and what a lifesaver they would be in situations like that. So it definitely has I have a personal connection to it for sure. Okay, well, I guess we'll turn to public comment. Oh no, we're not going to take public comment. I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. So we are going to, seeing no questions right now, we'll move on to the next item with the DA's office, and then the parks, and then we'll take public comment for all three.
And if I may, through the chair, while the district attorney's office representative comes up, I also wanted to let the board know that per your request last year, this item you heard from the sheriff's office went to a public hearing in front of the Community Review Commission on May 16th as well. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Okay, thank you, Eric.
You bet.
Hi, good afternoon, Chair and Supervisors. My name is Tiffany King. I'm the Assistant Chief Investigator with the Bureau of Investigations in the District Attorney's Office. With me today is Lieutenant Bill Hutto, who serves as our department's range master. For those of you who may not be familiar with the Bureau of Investigations' role within the District Attorney's Office, our Bureau includes sworn peace officers who are tasked with conducting follow-up investigation on criminal cases that are being prosecuted by our office. Our primary duties include traditional criminal investigative work, including the service of search warrants and arrest warrants on high-risk individuals. We are also responsible for providing for the safety of victims and witnesses throughout the court process, including sometimes relocating witnesses through the California Witness Relocation and Assistance Program. Additionally, we are tasked with providing for the safety and security of the district attorney's facilities, as well as the employees who work in them. We only have one type of equipment that qualifies as military equipment per AB 481. As listed in our military equipment inventory, we have 6 shotguns that have been converted for use as less lethal platforms deploying beanbags. These specialized shotguns serve as a valuable tool for non-lethal applications within the de-escalation continuum in critical situations where lethal force may not be justified or necessary. Incorporating these items into our Bureau's equipment inventory will enhance officer safety, protect public well-being, and improve community relations. The District Attorney's Investigations Bureau complies with federal and state law regarding the use of force and has policies and procedures in place related to the use of force, as well as the duty to intercede and de-escalation. Our shotguns were purchased through our normal Sacramento County purchasing guidelines and not through military surplus. They are maintained within our office and not deployed unless a situation arises in or around our facilities for which the option of less lethal would facilitate a peaceful resolution to a potentially dangerous and deadly situation. Our military equipment policy, military equipment inventory, and citizen complaint processes are posted on our website as required by AB 481.
Okay, thank you, Tiffany. Supervisor Frost.
Tiffany, I was going to ask you on the beanbag shotguns, what is that do? Does it leave like a really bad bruise, or does it knock them over? How does that impact?
Depending on how far the suspect is from the investigator who's deploying it, the intent is obviously to not break skin, but it's to incapacitate the person so that they can be subdued and detained.
It's like a BB gun.
It's basically little lead BBs that are inside of a sock, essentially, that is shot out of a traditional shotgun. And so it's like a big, heavy sock hitting them.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Supervisor Cerna.
Just to follow up on that, are the deputies trained to aim differently using non-lethal shotgun rounds, for instance, beanbags? Is it still center of mass, or is it? Is there any other directives to avoid what you would think would be non-lethal, except if a beanbag were to hit you in the face or something?
Correct. We would go through annual training and annual qualification with the beanbag rounds, and the training includes lower extremities on the person. We're just trying to incapacitate them until a point in time where we could detain them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, don't see any other questions. So when we do take action on this, it would be to approve a policy. So it would be a little bit different action than we'll take on the sheriff's item. Okay. Okay, thank you, Tiffany. No questions for now. Next, we will move to our Parks Director. Good afternoon, Liz.
Good afternoon, Chair Desmond, members of the board. So under AB 481, a law enforcement agency means any of the following: a police department, including the police department of a transit agency, school district, or any campus of the University of California, California State University, or California Community College, a sheriff's department, a district attorney's office, or a county probation department. Park rangers are defined as law enforcement under Penal Code 830.31B. So that is why we are not required to bring this forward to you. But we do feel, as Mr. Jones stated, that in the effort of transparency, we would report to you the equipment that we have in our department and we deploy. So we have 6 less lethal shotgun and munitions. As we were just discussing, these are beanbag shotguns. We currently have the standard Remington Model 870 12-gauge shotguns. They are outfitted with an orange-colored stock and foregrip to distinguish them from lethal weapons. We have not used these in the line of duty other than for training. And we have different policies that are that govern the use of these weapons, and that is included in our use of force policy, our control devices and techniques policy, and our firearms policy. It is our policy to utilize these only for official law enforcement purposes and pursuant to state and federal law. Personnel must complete a post-approved less lethal weapon munitions course, maintain departmentally required annual qualifications, and comply with all of our directives and policies. We also have one drone, or unmanned aircraft system. It is a DJI Mavic Enterprise Advanced. This is the same make and model which will be available to the public for purchase. It is used in compliance with all of our federal, state, and local laws, and not used in any way for routine patrol or surveillance of the public. And it must be used under our policy 605, unmanned aerial systems. All of our personnel have completed a remote pilot training as per Part 107 of the Federal Aviation Administration requirements. And this training involves approximately 10 hours of on-ground training and covers areas relating to small unmanned aircraft systems, rating privileges, limitations, and flight operations. We have deployed this for 4 water rescues, 1 drowning, 3 missing persons, 1 welfare check, 2 warrant arrests, 1 attempted warrant arrest, 1 suspicious circumstance call, and 2 flood impact evaluations. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. I also would like to acknowledge my chief ranger is in the audience to answer any technical questions as well.
Thank you, Liz, and thank you for being here today. I think everybody up here would agree that in the interest of transparency, it's a very good thing that we're reporting on this today. Supervisor Cerna.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Liz, for the report. The use of the one drone that's in the inventory for our Ranger Force, has that actually been deployed in conjunction with any kind of Metro Fire or SAC fire response to, summer month
Yes.
high fire danger events?
Oh, fire danger. No, I thought you meant water rescues. I'm like, yes, we have.
No. I'm thinking fire, and just in terms of, perhaps helping our fire departments get to remote, difficult to access places maybe a little more efficiently because of the altitude.
We certainly could. I do not have any reports of that being used in this last fiscal year.
Okay, very good. And then, Mr. Chair, I had a question. I think it's probably best for the captain maybe to come back up to the podium. Thanks, Liz.
Thank you.
It's a question I should have asked earlier during your presentation. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought there was an incident in the civil unrest following the George Floyd murder where I think it was a gas canister that may have been fired. I'm not sure if it was from our agents from the Sacramento Sheriff's Department or other law enforcement agency, but I thought it, from media reports, that it had injured someone, and perhaps in their face or head, because the canister itself, it's a projectile. So my question is, are our sheriff deputies trained on how to safely deploy those projectiles, those gas canisters, in a way that they don't become inadvertently lethal?
So my best recollection, having not been in this assignment during that time, recalling back, I believe we were talking about less lethal shotgun round, not...
I thought it was a canister, but,
I'm just going with my best
Sure.
recollection of events. And to your point, yes, any of our personnel that would use a less lethal shotgun device would receive substantial training on its deployment. And of course, that sort of a device would not be specifically aimed at a head or vital body part, as the intended use is to be less lethal.
Right. Can they ricochet?
I'm sorry?
Can they ricochet like a bullet?
I don't have that information. I wouldn't be the...
Okay. Hold on. I'm asking.
Excuse me.
So, the last question here on this subject. So I assume that the training is such, and you kind of alluded to it, that either the officer that's deploying those gas canisters as projectiles are intentionally aiming lower or away from near a crowd but not in a crowd, that kind of thing?
So those types of devices are governed by, I believe it's AB 48, and there are specific guidelines for its use. So no, they would not be aimed, up at head level. They would not be aimed at vital body parts or organs, things like that. There's specific use and guidelines for where they are, aimed at for so forth.
Okay, thank you.
And I don't know, I turn to anybody else from the Sheriff's Department, or maybe Eric Jones. I mean, in my experience, obviously post-training requirements for less lethal munitions or any item, it includes those very provisions you're talking about.
Yes, Chair. So the Sheriff's Office have these policies which are under Peace Officer Standards and Training, which is what the captain stated. Those less than lethal munitions are to be essentially fired lower body. Many of them, yes, there can be ricochet. That is just the science behind it, but they're given significant training on where and how to aim. And for example, gas canisters are not intended to be fired at individuals. Okay. This is a bit, yes, in general. Thank you.
Okay. And officers who are deployed with these less lethal munitions, I mean, they would not be able to use them by departmental policy unless they've received this training. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Captain? Okay. Thank you. Okay, so I don't see any of my colleagues in the queue to speak, so we'll go to public comment now on items 79, 80, and 81.
Okay, so for 79, 80, and 81, we have one person in chambers, Mr. Keon Bliss, and so far I don't have anyone on the phone.
Just for the record, I actually know the person that was hit in the head with one of those canisters, those gas canisters, and they absolutely, all of those and the rubber bullets can be ricocheted to hit people, which sheriff and the city police department know about and actually intentionally do. This is why there is video evidence that has been entered into public record in the city council chambers showing Sacramento Sheriff's Department and Sac PD stalking unarmed protesters as they were running away down Midtown in the streets of K Street and J Street and other streets in Midtown, shooting at them, including against volunteer medics who were simply trying to get people out of safety. I know several of the people that were hit with those, and they absolutely do break skin besides the psychological trauma that is caused. So there's a lot to be said that I can't really get within a full 2-minute comment. All I'm going to say is that the sheriff's policy as well as the DA's policy when it comes to military equipment is in violation of AB 481. And for not just for one reason, but multiple reasons. But in particular, their maintenance of military supply levels actually stipulates a workaround in AB 481 where they can replenish up to 10% of their supply without your approval, which AB 481's language, if you actually read the policy, does not stipulate any exception to you getting authorization before buying any of this equipment. In fact, you're supposed to come to them with any category of these equipments, not just a resolution that says we are authorized to purchase military equipment in the next fiscal year. You actually have to bring each and every item and category to that. Otherwise, you can be sued, which apparently is not a big concern of the sheriffs when it's not their money, but it's our money. It's my money, it's your money, and they should actually be responsible to follow the law within that. Apart from that, too, they also don't provide a funding mechanism. They don't provide any designation of independent oversight from entities like the Community Review Commission, the Inspector General's Office, or even any other agency. So just to say, your sheriff's department and the DA's office is in violation of state law, and you need to amend that without approving this. You need to reject that today and demand that they actually fix the law. And they could actually take pointers from the city police, which I don't approve of the way they wrote that policy either. I will, but they actually do it better than they did.
Thank you.
Okay, so that concludes your public comments in person, and we do not have anyone on the phone, so I'm going to close those phone queues now.
Okay. I'll bring it back to the board. Supervisor Hume.
Thank you, Chair. Appreciate the presentations received today. Do we need a separate motion for items 79 and 80, or can we encapsulate them both into one motion?
I think we will need for 79, yeah, because 79 and 80 are a little different. So.
Okay, in that case,
Yes.
I would, for item 79, I'd move to receive and file the presentation that we received here today and the one that is contained in the staff report.
And also, would you like to authorize the continued use of the equipment and
authorize the purchase?
You know what? I will defer to the clerk to read the item that I will be moving, please.
Yes, so what they're asking for, the recommended action is to receive and file the Sacramento Sheriff's Office annual military equipment use report for 2023 and authorization for the continued use of military equipment as shown in the attached annual equipment report for 2023 and authorization to amend the inventory as changes occur, and then authorization to purchase and acquire military equipment in the future in compliance with the military equipment policy as shown in the attached military report for 2023.
That is my motion.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Unanimous vote with those members present.
And now if the clerk would please read the requested motion for item 80, please.
Absolutely. For item 80, first, you're introducing an ordinance responsive to California Assembly Bill 481, pursuant to California Government Code Section 770 through 7075, relating to the use of military equipment by law enforcement agencies. You're waiving full reading of the ordinance and continuing to July 11th for adoption. And I want to correct that. It's California Government Code Section 7070 through 7075. And then you are adopting a Directive 605 military equipment policy in accordance with AB 481. You are also authorizing the district attorney or designee for the continued use of the military equipment listed in the military equipment inventory and to amend the inventory as needed, and authorizing the department to purchase and acquire military equipment in the future in compliance with the Directive 605 military equipment policy.
That's my motion.
Okay, please vote.
Okay, unanimous vote. And for item 81, that's a receive and file.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation from the DA's office, Sheriff's Department, and Liz Bellis. Okay, well, now we'll move on to item 82.
Okay. Item 82 is the update on countywide fireworks task force and enforcement plan for July 4th of 2023.
Okay, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Chair, Board of Supervisors. Once again, Eric Jones, Deputy County Executive of the Public Safety and Justice Agency. This item is informational and requires no action. It was a request to have a presentation and an update on the countywide countywide fireworks task force and enforcement plan for the period on and around July 4th. So you're going to receive presentations from 4 individuals because there are 4 components of the fireworks task force. So the first will be Metro Fire, and that will be Chief Law, Fire Marshal. Then from the Sheriff's Office, we'll have Nate O'Brien. From Code Enforcement, because there's a Code Enforcement component for the Social Host Ordinance, that will be Chief Barry Chamberlain. And then our County Communications Director, Kim Nava, will also discuss the communications efforts and mechanisms of reporting illegal fireworks. So we will begin with Metro Fire and Chief Law.
Okay.
Or Chief Wagaman, sorry. All right.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair Desmond, Supervisors, County Executives. Good afternoon. My name is Tyler Wagaman, Deputy Chief here at Metro Fire. Pleasure to stand before you once again. To my right is our Fire Marshal, Assistant Chief Barbie Law. To her right, our Deputy Fire Marshal, Amy Nygren. As you're very well aware, fireworks season is very much upon us, and we have already seen an uptick in activity, which is typically right around Memorial Day, historically. Throughout Metro Fire's jurisdiction, as well as throughout the state of California, possession and use of illegal fireworks continues to be a challenge. Metro Fire, though, cannot solve this alone. We continue to work and take an active role in illegal fireworks throughout our jurisdiction, as well as this staff has worked exhaustingly with our partnering agencies on a comprehensive illegal fireworks mitigation plan. I would like to thank the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department, as well as Sacramento County Code Enforcement on their continued collaboration on this front. Now for some additional details and the specifics of what this plan looks like for this year. Again, I would like to introduce our Fire Marshal for, again, an in-depth look, as well as some statistical information that you might find very useful in the plan as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. So I'd like to start with an overview of some of our statistics from 2021 and 2022, which helps to show our overall call volume as well as the fire problem that we see locally related to fireworks. So in 2021, we had an overall call volume during July 1 to 5, which is our enhanced enforcement period typically for fireworks. Total call volume, so that's all calls for service, so our medical calls, vehicle accidents, hazmats, as well as fires. So we had a slight increase in total overall call volume in 2022. However, our total fires actually were down in 2022. So we had 129 fires in 2021, down to 108 in 2022, which is a 16% decrease in our fire activity. And then we'll talk about how that relates to fireworks in general. So when we look at our fireworks fires, we do classify these and attempt to identify, was the fire involved from legal fireworks or what's known as safe and sane fireworks, illegal fireworks, and then there are some circumstances where we're unable to determine what type of firework was involved just due to the amount of damage, and so those you'll see listed as undetermined fires.
So in 2021, a large percentage of our actual fires were related to fireworks. 23 of those were illegal fireworks. 6 of those fires were related to safe and sane fireworks. And typically that's related to improper disposal of those fireworks. But for 2022, we do see a decrease in the percentage of fires being caused by fireworks. So I also wanted to show the total overall percentage of our calls that are related to fireworks, because this is a busy time for us, but I think it's helpful to put it in perspective to see that the large majority of our calls actually are not related to fireworks, and that's also going down. So 3.6% of our total calls for service were related to fireworks in 2021 versus 2022, where we're down to 1.9% of our total call volume being related to fireworks. Also with that, we have some numbers from our fire investigations unit. The fire investigations unit is staffed by our arson investigators. Our arson investigators are peace officers that are specially trained in origin and cause determination of fires. And we do work in partnership with the Sacramento Sheriff's Office under an MOU that we have with them to provide that service for all calls for fire investigation within Metro Fire's jurisdiction. And so our investigations were also down. So we had 63 investigations that required an actual arson investigator to look at. That's all fires, not just our fireworks fires, and that was down to 50 last year.
Excuse me.
Yes.
So before you leave that slide,
Yes.
Do you have it broken down by how many fires were attributable to illegal fireworks that were aerial in nature?
If you're asking for the specific type of firework, no. We look at, was it labeled as safe and sane appropriately? Anything that's aerial is going to be illegal, but we do also have fireworks that travel across the ground. Those would also be illegal, and it's not broken out to that level of granularity.
And also explosive illegal fireworks
too.
Yeah,
anything that explodes is going to be illegal as well. If it goes in the air, if it travels across the ground out of control, or if it goes boom, it's illegal.
And can I ask you another follow-up on that,
Yes.
that last chart? Can you break that down with fires that occur on the American River Parkway, by any chance?
I can. I do not have that stat for you today, but
We could follow up with
I
that.
can follow up and
Okay.
get that to you for sure, pretty quickly. So I can get your email after the meeting and get that over to you.
You can get my email too.
Yes. Yep. Any more questions on this before I move on? Okay. So here we have a breakdown of actual incident types for our fireworks. These codes actually come from the National Fire Incident Reporting System, which we are required to participate in California. So as we can see in the middle of the graphic here, for both 2021 and 2022, the highest number of fires that we're seeing related to fireworks are actually grass fires. I do have further breakdown of those grass fires as far as the size of the fire. I did not bring that today because we wanted to use your time effectively. But I can tell you that the majority of those grass fires were held to 1 acre or less, and they were typically shrubs and front lawn damage. So we weren't talking large fires. Our building fires, that's where we're talking about our typically residential homes or apartment complexes fall into the building fire. So we have had 4 structure fires over the last couple of years. When you come over to the right side of the graphic here, you'll see one that says fireworks. That actually, the whole type code is actually fireworks with no fire. So that's somebody that has reported hearing the sound of a firework, and we've responded and not found a fire. And then the majority of the calls on the far right side there are medical incidents that relate to fireworks use. Is there anything I can expand on here?
Yeah, thank you. So this is a really interesting chart. When it comes to fires in structure or building fire that are attributable to fireworks, maybe just even anecdotally, if you have something more detailed to share, are most of those cases where you might have a aerial firework that lands on a shake roof versus improper disposal next to a structure? Can you give us some flavor for kind of what that means?
Yep, so we're seeing in the last couple of years just 4 structure fires, and it was actually a combination. We did have a couple of fires where we had embers come down on a wood shake roof. We also had improper disposal of fireworks in a garbage can in a garage, and one was on the side of a house. That one was interesting in particular. The people actually followed some of the messaging. However, they took a combustible cooler, so a plastic cooler, filled it with water, and then jam-packed it with the fireworks, but only put them kind of stuck in there, and that actually caused a fire. So they had it outside, but it wasn't the right type of container. So details matter when we talk about proper disposal of fireworks. It's not just putting it in water, it's putting it in water in a non-combustible container, such as a metal bucket, and leaving those soaking for 24 hours, which is messaging you're going to see us putting out this year pretty robustly to address some of the granular problems that we're seeing. We need to get more specific with our community with those safety messages.
And I assume, in addition to that, outdoors and away from a structure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
So some annual trends that I thought were interesting, and these trend lines actually continue for our vegetation fires as well as our structure fires. As we can see, when our fire investigations pick up is directly related to when our complaint data picks up, and we can see that our complaints really pick up towards the end of June and are in alignment with when our fireworks booths open up, and it drops off drastically when it closes. So that's really when we start to see the large intake in complaint data. And the complaints that come in, we actually use that information for hotspotting. When we have usable information that comes in, not always do people do a great job of giving us a specific location, but it does at least specifically give us a zip code, and we can then hotspot and see where the fireworks activity is occurring and target those for enforcement activities when we get closer into the holiday. Do you have any questions with this one? I also wanted to talk about fireworks injuries, because I think in the past we've really focused on the number of fires that you're seeing, but as a 33-year paramedic, this one is important to me. This is an area that we need to do more work on from public safety messaging standpoint. So unfortunately, in 2021 and 2022, we saw the same number of people injured with fireworks, so 6 people each year. And we can see the breakdown of illegal and legal fireworks. One thing that I found interesting that I wasn't aware of before is that we actually do have a couple people that were injured with a combination of fireworks. And these were actually domestic violence crimes where we had individuals attempt to light vehicles on fire, and in the process of putting both types of fireworks in the vehicle and gasoline, that didn't go very well for them. And then again, undetermined fires are the ones there's reports that we heard sounds of fireworks. However, there's not enough left to actually determine if it was illegal or illegal, and nobody was there to see to tell us, well, it was aerial or it was moving across the ground for us to make that determination. Another point of interest, when we look at the severity of injury, all of our severe injuries have been caused by illegal fireworks, and those severe injuries typically involve amputations and blunt force trauma from the explosions. However, in the minor and moderate category, we do see injuries with both types of fireworks. The legal fireworks, we're seeing burn injuries. So we'll be doing some messaging on how to properly, and we actually already started that this week with our PIO, how to safely light a firework, move out of the way, and not get injured. And then unfortunately, the one fatality fire we've had in the last 2 years was a house fire, and the investigators found that this was improper disposal of safe and sane fireworks, and they were disposed of too soon in a garbage can in the garage, and that did lead to a significant fire loss. Not only was our highest fire loss dollar amount, that one fire in 2021 nearly equaled all other fires related to fireworks, and we had a fatality. So Here's some of our complaint data for the last 2 years. So this is where our problems are occurring. For people that don't necessarily know zip codes right off the top of your head like we do, our biggest problems for the last 2 years have been in the 95843. That's the highest number of complaints. That's Antelope. And that is also where we've seen injuries as well as fires. Followed closely by North Highlands, and then we have seen hotspots in Rio Linda, Fair Oaks, Orangevale, and Carmichael. And then we have a lower distribution of complaints in other areas, but we also have problems down in the south area. I think that was Director or Supervisor Kennedy's area, actually. So we're using this information to inform where we need to step up our enforcement efforts and where to best deploy our personnel. Do you have any questions here?
Yes, I do.
Supervisor Turner.
Thank you. Is there any correlation between these zip codes and the number or distribution of safe and sane sales sites?
Oh, that is a good question, and I will be honest with you, that is not something that we took a look at. That would take us a little bit of time. I can work with Amy, and we can look at where our booths actually were located to see if there's any correlation in that. I apologize that.
I think it would be interesting to see if there's increased access to the ability to purchase legal fireworks, whether or not that has anything to do with these numbers.
Okay. Certainly, we will work on that and add it to the list to get over to you via email as soon as possible.
Great, thank you.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it is.
You probably see
You
how
stumped
many
me, sorry.
legal. Yeah, right.
And I'm going to turn it over to Sergeant O'Brien now.
Yeah, thank you. Scoot your papers out of the way. Hey, good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Supervisors, Madam Clerk, Council, County Leadership. I'm Sergeant Nate O'Brien. I'll be presenting today on behalf of Sacramento County Sheriff's Office. My intent is to begin by looking at some overall statistical data first, transition into some data that came out of last year's task force, and then finish with this year's enforcement plan. If there's no questions at the onset, I'll go ahead and get started. So here's some quick stats for illegal firework calls. In 2021, illegal firework calls comprised 0.47% of our total call volume. In 2022, illegal firework calls comprised 0.39% of our total call volume. If we look at the PowerPoint, on a 5-day span, July 1st through the 5th for 21 and 22, this is for all calls for service in the Sheriff's Office. 2021, there was 4,132 calls for service over that 5-day span. 2022, we received 4,110 total calls, a slight decrease of 1%. Looking at the same time frame for 21 and 22, all illegal firework calls for service, 2021 was 312. We saw a significant increase in 2022 at 433, almost a 40% increase for 2022. Some might attribute that to the tail end of COVID, people ready to get out, socialize, celebrate. In summary, for July 3rd and 4th of last year, there were a total of 493 illegal firework calls for service created with the intent to have an officer dispatched in the unincorporated Sacramento County. There were hundreds more 415 firework calls over that 2-day period that were received but had no actionable information to follow up on. An example would be a caller calls in, said they heard a boom, it was a mile away, but they don't have an address, they don't have a street name, there's nothing for deputies to go investigate, all right? In total, there were 80 illegal firework cat events that were handled by the task force last year. In total, approximately 800 pounds of illegal fireworks were confiscated and later destroyed.
Can you forward the PowerPoint? Are those other slides on the PowerPoint that
They are, I apologize.
we're not seeing? Okay, I just want to make sure I'm tracking with you here. Thank you.
Yep, you got you. And I left off at that one. I'll get to my third one here in just a second. Moving on to the enforcement plan for 2023, Obviously, the Sheriff's Office is fully committed to its regional partners in this year's 2023 Fireworks Task Force. Sheriff deputies plan on working in conjunction with Metro Fire. They're going to be responsible for handling illegal firework calls for service in the unincorporated county. Investigations will be conducted into the possession and/or use of illegal fireworks. This is going to include interviewing witnesses, collection of evidence, taking statements, writing citations, and making physical arrests if necessary. This year, our EOD team, or Explosive Ordnance Detail team, will be on call for the 4th of July holiday. Patrol deputies will be encouraged to enforce laws pertaining to illegal firework violations, on top of the task force being out.
Excuse me, Sergeant. Supervisor Turner.
Thank you. So to that point you just stressed, I think in years past when we've had a representative from the Sheriff's Department provide some data on similar to what you're providing today, there's been a reminder to this board, which is very understandable, that when deputies are out on patrol, they are required to prioritize their response, right? So if you get a disturbance due to fireworks versus someone's being held at gunpoint at a convenience store, I think it's obvious how someone's going to prioritize the response. So is there anything different, Sergeant, in terms of this year, how we might have more personnel out or otherwise be able to have just a better ability to have the resources to be able to respond a little bit better, quite frankly, to those fireworks disturbance calls? That's my first question. And then the second question is, for deputies that are on patrol and they're not responding to anything, they're simply between calls, and let's say they see an aerial firework explode a couple blocks away from their location, is there any directive from command that if you see something like that, you will make your best effort to maybe drive to that location and see if you can't determine its source?
Absolutely, and thank you for that question, Supervisor Cerna. Yeah, absolutely. The priorities with the Sheriff's Office still are where they are, as far as triaging calls, the importance of preserving life and property, and/or then handling a firework call. So those will be triaged as the night goes on. To get to your second question about officers in between calls, absolutely. It's going to be messaged to them that when and if there are downtime in the respective divisions, that they are to be proactively looking for illegal firework usage. And then at that point, investigations will take place. And then also to piggyback on that question, this year we have used statistical data from the past couple years to generate hotspots within the county of Sacramento, all right? This year, our POP officers are going to be out in conjunction with California Highway Patrol. They will be in and about those designated hotspots, attempting to be proactive and curb the use of illegal fireworks.
Very good. One more follow-up question. This is for Mr. Jones. Has there been any discussion as to whether or not probation has any role to play here in terms of that last line of questioning about quote unquote downtime, or let's say we have two POs in a vehicle that may be going to do a check on a probationer. Are they getting some similar directive, like keep your eyes and ears open? This is near or on the 4th of July, like the sheriff's deputies are being asked to do. Are they also going to kind of be our eyes and ears for the community to help locate, especially those dangerous aerial fireworks?
Good question, Supervisor, and I will have that discussion with the probation chief. It's not their primary role, but I think it's worth discussing that should they see what I would say is some sort of egregious situation going on that's very dangerous, that they could at least be working with the sheriff's office to at least report that location and perhaps go see what they can, if they can address it as well. So I will have that discussion.
Yeah, I would imagine if nothing else, they would have access to the same communication channels to at least help inform a response from the sheriff's Sheriff's Department. And then same thing for our park rangers. I'm not all that familiar with the times that they might be out and about, but especially as it relates to the American River Parkway, it seems like we, should have all hands on deck, so to speak, to at least be able to communicate with one another and try and triangulate where some of these incidents are occurring. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Finally, any and all documentation resulting from these calls for services or contact with the public in regards to illegal firework usage will be forwarded to Sacramento County Code Enforcement for review, right? And then potential enforcement of the social host ordinance if deemed necessary. If we take a look at the last slide I have here, as a proactive measure, we threw out some social messaging this year, created an amnesty period for firework turn-in at 2 different sheriff's office locations, RCPD, East Division, as well as our Central Division. That's not to say this does run year-round. To be perfectly clear, the public is more than welcome to come in at any point in time, turn in any illegal or legal fireworks, no questions asked, anytime during the year. We will take those from them and safely dispose of them, so it doesn't just end after the 4th of July.
Thank you. Excuse me, Sergeant. Supervisor Sergeant.
Thank you. I think you just answered my primary question. It was, does this apply to legal fireworks as well as legal fireworks? But I assume that there is a practical cutoff to that, right? I mean, if I show up with a couple sticks of dynamite, maybe questions would be asked. I don't know.
Let's hope you don't.
I can foresee that being an issue.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And in conclusion, I'd just like to thank the supervisors for the opportunity to present. I'll turn the floor over for any questions if you have them.
I have a question. So it's interesting to me, look at the statistics between the Sheriff's Department and Sac Metro Fire. Looks like the impact was less last year, but the number of complaints dramatically higher, which, I mean, I guess that's, I mean, to me, one takeaway is that we're getting the word out there, and I imagine the more complaints, obviously, that come in, one of you may have alluded to it, Chief, it helps you kind of triangulate where people are. I mean, I think that's really that's a very promising thing. I think the fact that people are calling and they're taking advantage of the things we've made available to them to report it. So, okay, no other supervisors in the queue. What do we have next, Eric?
Yes, next.
Oh, you have more, so you're coming back up. Okay.
I'll turn it over to Barry Chamberlain.
So I did not want to steal Kim Nava's thunder because I know she has a really robust presentation for you on the messaging this year, but I did want to talk about some specific actions that Metro Fire has taken this year and led the way with the task force on identifying the need to start our messaging earlier around the Memorial Day weekend time, and that is based on our fire loss data, which for the last 2 years we can see that we experience our first fire loss related to, and that's property or contents related to fireworks, Memorial Day weekend. And we see those losses on Memorial Day weekend, the actual 4th of July, and then we typically have our last fire loss related to fireworks is Labor Day weekend, is what our data shows you. So we started messaging earlier this year. We did tie that into Arson Awareness Week, which is a national event. It was May 7 to 13. During this time period, our PIO was out with the media. We had interviews with KOVR, Fox 40, one of the other outlets, as well as our own social media campaign with a behind the badge story on our arson investigators and what it is they do in the community. I would like to thank Lee Miller behind me from Residents Against Illegal Fireworks. Her group has been very helpful in informing us on some ideas that they have that might improve, and I would like to say that I feel that we enhanced one of their ideas. What was tried in the past was putting decals on regional transit buses on a couple of routes. struts. So we went ahead and did decals on 30 of our fire engines this year, and those rolled out during Arson Awareness Week as well. I have had positive feedback from our firefighters in that it has allowed for some engagement with community members while they are out asking questions. What does this mean? So I think that one-on-one communication that's spurred by seeing messages like this on an apparatus that is actually tied to fires has been very beneficial. We've already talked about the fireworks amnesty, and I don't want to steal Barry's thunder, so I'll let him speak to the code enforcement letters. And we're really ramping up the messaging this week. Our PIO has been with KCRA 3 today, so you'll see stories this evening, as well as all of our social media activities. And then the final thing that we're working to explore this year is working with our schools and parks, because we do see fireworks use in our parks and schools. So I will turn it over to Barry, who's got that.
Before you do that, can I ask you a question, Chief? Something that we've talked about over the past couple of years is the need for more state legislation and more penalties for bringing these things in from out of state. Have there been any developments at the state level, any discussions at the state level? I haven't tracked anything myself.
I do not have the number off the top of my head. I always get it wrong because we're tracking a lot of legislation. It's AB 1403. Yeah, AB 1403 has been working its way through. From that piece of legislation looks very different from when that started, and some of the enforcement activity has been pared out of it, so we don't quite know what that's going to look like at the end. When we talk about our fire prevention groups, we work with NorCal fire prevention officers and statewide with Cal chiefs, so they have legislative representation and do that advocacy at the state level for laws that we think are going to help stop the problem and work on some of the interdiction issues along the state lines where those fireworks are coming in. One of the new challenges that we were made aware of by CAL FIRE this year when we did our training with the arson and bomb unit for this year was that they are seeing an increase in inactivity of people making their own fireworks at home. You can actually purchase all of the components to do these things. They come in the mail through, Amazon or however you want to purchase it, and it's not illegal to get those things. It becomes illegal when you put it all together at your home. And so that is really challenging to combat. So not only do we have things being brought across the state line, but you've got legal things being sent here for people to put together at home. So.
Thank you.
Oh, actually, we've got one more here. Apologies. I'm going to have Deputy Fire Marshal Nyren give you a breakdown of our enforcement plan for this year.
Good afternoon.
Barry, can Barry sit down? Or
Sure. I think I just have the one slide.
I'm just kidding you, Barry. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Good afternoon. As you know, this is a very busy time for Metro Fire. We really start seeing our activity from June 28th to July 5th. And when we look at fire investigations, you heard the sergeant talk about our pairing and being good partners. So that increased staffing for our investigation unit happens July 1st to the 4th. We're very excited to say that our fire inspector pilot program has been very successful. We started that 2 years ago. So our inspectors are now assisting and supporting our investigation unit with origin and cause investigations, and that will also continue this year. They have had that cross training to assist and then be able to refer any criminal elements of arson over to the DA's office when necessary. This time of year, we've also increased our staffing at the dispatch center during that holiday time to help respond to any increased call volume. So for the code enforcement side in the fireworks booths, California Fire Code requires us to issue permits and inspections for those booths. That begins June 28th at noon. And you're allowed to sell and use fireworks between the 28th at noon and in the unincorporated Sacramento County, July 5th at 10 p.m. That's also with Citrus Heights. The only difference in our area is Rancho Cordova is June 28th through July 4th at 10 p.m. So they cut it a little bit shorter within the city of Rancho.
Can I interrupt you there?
Sure.
Supervisor Cerna.
Thank you. I'm not sure if you have the answer to this or not, but it just occurred to me, do our, the various nonprofits that have these booths that are the subject of inspection, Are they required, or do they sometimes volunteer, at least the sale of a safe container to properly dispose of legal fireworks, like a metal short tub?
I'm
Anything
not
like that?
aware of that being part of their sale. Do you know if they're, by any chance?
Dennis?
TNT? No, not as a sale item
Okay.
with it.
I'm just wondering out loud whether or not there may be something that maybe to try as a pilot is to, and I'm not an expert, but I'm just assuming you'd rather see a metal galvanized
that
tub
relation
versus
of
a
the
plastic
issues.
cooler, or some other combustible container. But it might be worth trying maybe for a season at some select booths to see if it catches on, or if we can provide them at some reasonable cost.
Sure.
That way, there's kind of less excuse that I didn't have the right, whatever. Just something to think about.
It's a great idea. So this year, in 2023, we have currently 134 booths. This was as of last week. We are anticipating a little change in that. We won't get the final numbers until probably later this week, but we'll be scheduling out all those inspections and get those completed. I think it's going to be closer to 160 by the time we're done. And then with public displays, again, the fire code requires us to do inspections of those public displays and issue permits. This year we have one additional fireworks display open to the public, and that's going to be in Citrus Heights. We do have two that are country clubs, so there's a little more private events. So it is another opportunity for the public to engage in a safe activity around the 4th of July holiday, as opposed to using some of the other illegal items that we've seen over the years. And with that, I will turn it over to Barry.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Board.
Good afternoon, Barry.
Chairman Desmond, the Board of Supervisors. I had a conversation in August with Mr. Desmond, and I brought up the idea of developing an advisory letter to send for fireworks, and he took it. He took the bait. So basically what I did was I took our advisory letter that we send for the majority of our our zoning enforcement, and I used it at first. And then I had trained all my folks as they answered the phone if they have questions about fireworks. I gave them a little script to hit on that. There was complaints received on your property, and that's why you're getting the advisory to let you know that if you continue to use illegal fireworks, that you're going to face enforcement action. Well, our advisory letter is a little, what can I say? It's pretty tough. So we adjusted it a little bit and made it a little simpler, and the number of calls we've received is drastically dropped. So anyway, I started out getting the complaints from fire and from the sheriff's department, which they had gotten it from Report Fireworks at saccounty.gov, and then also the sheriff receives their calls through their non-emergency number, 916-874-5115. I think that we have to make a big push about that, because in looking at the complaints, there's a lot of them where they're sending it to an email to the sheriff that's getting kicked back. And I think that's got to be a big part of what we put out there. Make sure that if you're going to call in a complaint, either use the county website or use the sheriff's non-emergency number. So originally, looking through the complaints, I found about 225 that I was able to send letters to, and I've continued on. I've actually now have access to our database, the county's database, and I've started working through those. I think I'm going to continue down the list, and I'll compare to what I already have. And if we've had issues, because I also noticed that while we had obviously the biggest amount is during 4th of July, we also had quite a bit during the New Year and around New Year. So I think I'm going to try to get all the way back to that and see if we have already sent letters to these properties, or if we haven't, I'm going to send a letter to them also that we've had a complaint about your fire, and I don't have to put a date. I just have to say we've gotten a complaint from your address of illegal fireworks use. So that's the plan moving forward. I'm at a little bit over 300 letters now, and I'm working my way back. I'm around the first part of May. As you can see, our ordinance allows for violations as a misdemeanor and a public nuisance. The first offense will be $1,000. Second will be $2,500. And each offense after that is $5,000. And if there's a violation in the American River Parkway, it's $10,000. So what will happen is we'll receive the reports from fire and from the sheriff's departments, and I'll review the evidence. I'm also going to have my county counsel with me as we look through what we get and see what is actionable, and then we'll issue admin penalties after the fact. And we receive a complaint, code enforcement reviews fire law and law enforcement reports. If there's sufficient evidence established, then we will issue citations. Okay, so is there any questions?
Thank you, Barry. As you know, you're a hero to a lot of people in District 3. I want you to know that because of the work you do. How many of the about 300 letters you said you've set out?
Right now, yes.
And how many of those, out of those 300 recipients, would you say were the subject of multiple complaints at that residence?
Well, for the most part, not many, because I would take a look, and I had a list of who I had sent a letter to. So if I saw a repeat, I wouldn't send another letter. I can tell you that at first glance, and after this first year, I'll have better stats of where they're coming from. A lot of complaints from North Islands, a lot of complaints about North Islands. Some areas not in the middle South, but towards outer regions of the South, and then quite a bit in Carmichael also. So,
but I mean, some of these addresses, 5834.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, you look at the stats. Boy, this is the address where we had 3 or 4 complaints, 2 to the Sacramento and 3 to the sheriff's department. I'm sure you had quite a few of those.
I haven't got much of that, to tell you the truth. So all I can tell you is that a lot of the issue is that they're not being reported correctly. I mean, we need to have at least an enclosed area. It can't be, I saw one a mile away to the north. And if we have actionable, the letters were sent. If I have a good address, or if I have it in a set area where there might be, 10 homes or whatever, where the problem is, I've sent them to all of the people within that area. So I'll have better stats of where we're going and how we're doing it after the event. But I think I'm going to I have access to the website now, to the email address, and I'm going to start looking and seeing if I can catch some trends, and we'll move forward from there.
Okay, thank you.
Apologize, I wanted to back up just a couple of slides here to talk about the enforcement plan and how we make the decisions on when we're going to have enhanced staffing and enforcement activities. That's always a data-driven decision for Metro Fire. And so what we can see during the 1st to the 5th is where we really see our heightened activity is on the 4th of July. So while you may not hear us refer to enhanced staffing on the 5th, the reason for that is all of my staff is already on duty on the 5th. So there isn't stuff for me to enhance because they're all already at work, whereas over the holiday weekend on the 4th, that is a holiday, we don't have everybody. Our investigators and inspectors don't take vacation and holiday on the 4th of July. They're out in the street dealing with the problem. So that's how we make the decision on the time period that we're going to have enhanced staffing. And I promise this is our last slide for you. So after we will be doing an after-action review, we will get the task force together again in August, probably after everyone has had an opportunity to take a breath, take a little rest after all this heightened stuff, and then we'll have the time to really collate all of our data, get together, meet as a group, and determine what worked and was beneficial for us, and where do we have opportunities for the next year to improve on our enforcement plan and really get the most bang for your buck and the community's buck in trying to get this problem under control. And with that, I think all of us are available for questions if you have anything.
Thank you. Supervisor Hume.
Thank you, Chair. Not that I'm interested in starting the stopwatch, but can you give me a rough idea of when you may be able to parse the data from this year to have just at least a general idea of trends?
I would say give us about a month to get all of the reports in, do the QA/QI on the data with the crews. Sometimes we may need to send something back and say, hey, take a look at that incident type. Is that really the most appropriate? And so that does take some time, at least for us. I can't speak for the Sheriff's Department or code enforcement. One other point with Barry, you asked if there were duplicate complaints and things going on. We get the exact same, the email group also comes to Metro. So we're getting the same information as Barry. So there's not the duplicates. It's not that they have emails and we have emails. That county-wide group is coming directly to us. So we're receiving all of it. So I've not seen a lot of repeat complaints at all.
Okay. Thank you. Now I think we're getting the robust presentation from Kim Nava. As it was described. That was not my words.
I think Chief Law maybe set expectations too high, but I'll do what I can. Is this the flow? Is this the advancer? Okay, thanks. All right, good afternoon, members of the board. I'm Kim Nava, Sacramento County Public Information Director, and I'll be presenting to you today the messaging and elements of this year's multi-jurisdictional fireworks safety campaign. All local jurisdictions have varying degrees of issues with illegal firework usage and communicating safe use of fireworks. In the past, there was confusion and cross-messaging when it comes to reporting the use of fireworks. That changed 2 years ago when jurisdictions came together to have clear, consistent message across the county. This year, we've continued that coordination with well-defined expectations of safe use and reporting. In order to reach consensus again this year, we teamed up with cities, fire, and law jurisdictions to discuss messaging about safe use and proper disposal, what is legal and illegal, and how to report illegal firework usage. We decided to stick with what worked in past campaigns and included those elements again this year. The flyer you see up here illustrates all our messaging incorporated into one piece. We have Know the Risks at the top of the flyer, which include physical injuries that people can sustain from unsafe use of fireworks, as well as the risk of property damage and the importance of parental supervision. We want to help people identify legal fireworks. All legal fireworks are called safe and sane. All legal fireworks bear the state fire marshal seal. And anything that goes up in the air, travels, or explodes is illegal and dangerous. Our safety tips include having a bucket of water to dispose of fireworks and leaving the used fireworks soaking overnight in an appropriate container before disposal. Having hose connected to water. Avoiding use of fireworks near dry grass or other flammables. And avoiding use of fireworks under a canopy, covered balcony, covered patio, or under trees and bushes. Jurisdictions gave us contact information for reporting illegal usage, including phone numbers for the unincorporated county, Folsom, Rancho Cordova, Citrus Heights, Galt, and Elk Grove, and an email for the city of Elk Grove, the city of Folsom, and the unincorporated county. Sacramento Fire has requested that the public report illegal fireworks through their proprietary app. We're continuing to discourage the use of 911 as an option to report illegal usage because that is the number to call only if there is an active fire or injury. Law enforcement and fire have told us that there is increased 911 activity on July 4th due to fire and injury, and they don't want to clog up the emergency line with reports of illegal usage. Additionally, residents who call 311 will be routed to the appropriate line to report if they're not exactly clear about where they're located. The jurisdictions can make a request to the county for specific languages for these collateral in any of the 9 translated languages we offer. We had good success these past 2 years with the email address for residents to report illegal fireworks in the unincorporated county, which is reportfireworks@saccounty.gov. Those who've had access to this email box were public information officers from the county and representatives from Sac Metro Fire. The feedback we've had from Metro Fire in years past is that the emails were helpful in providing information about illegal firework activity and sales, and that they were able to build heat maps based in part from the citizen reports we received through this email. We have received more than 2,300 emails since the account was established in June of 2021. Now we'll dive into specific campaign elements. You can see that this graphic focuses on how to identify legal fireworks and the dates when legal fireworks are sold, beginning at noon on June 28th through midnight on July 4th. We also have an example of the state fire marshal seal, which marks the legal, safe, and sane fireworks. A new element to this year's campaign, as we all know, is information about an amended ordinance known as the Host Ordinance that places accountability for sales and or use of illegal fireworks on property owners. Your board approved the amendment to this ordinance in May of 2022, and it went into effect on June 24th, 2022. This ordinance was part of an overall strategy to address fireworks safety concerns, which in the past have focused on education and mitigation, as well as enforcement efforts, including illegal firework buy-busts, confiscation and citations, arson investigations, and proper disposal of illegal fireworks. The Host Ordinance applies to property owners who knowingly permit fireworks to be lit, exploded, or sold on private property. Penalties for the violations are $1,000 for the first violation, $2,500 for the second violation within 1 year of the first, $5,000 for each additional violation within 1 year of the first, and $10,000 for each violation that occurs within the American River Parkway. Other specific campaign elements include messaging about identifying risky firework behavior and safety tips. It's also necessary to highlight messaging around when it's appropriate to call 911. This campaign will begin in full force next week with a news release and information sent to the media and the public. Information will include a fact sheet, a toolkit containing social media graphics and printable flyers, and direct contact information for each jurisdiction's fire, law enforcement, and city PIOs for requests for interviews. All jurisdictions will continue collaboration and be part of this campaign for consistent messaging about dangerous use of illegal fireworks, safe use of fire marshal approved safe and sane fireworks, and how to report illegal use. They will be using these graphics and swapping out our logo for theirs. And that concludes my presentation, and I'll take any questions you might have.
Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
I don't see any questions from my colleagues. So is that any?
Actually.
Oh, Supervisor Turner.
Sorry. Kim, real quick. How finalized is the messaging, is the verbiage on all this?
It actually has been changing because we've received some additional information from other jurisdictions. So even some of the messages that you might see up here still have been edited since then, and we can change it on a dime as easily as you need it.
Can I just make one suggestion?
Yes.
The one message up on the upper right, you've obviously heard some of the back and forth questioning from me and some of the responses from fire personnel. Can we change always have a bucket of water to always have a non-combustible container of water or something of that nature?
Absolutely. In fact, it's funny. I've been texting the fire PIO during Chief Law's presentation, and we're discussing the language on that. So
because this leaves it open to someone saying, "I got a bucket. It just happens to be plastic."
Yep.
So.
The point is well taken, and we're working on that as we all speak.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Supervisor Cerna.
Thank you, Chair. That concludes the presentation.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, staff, and all the work that's gone into this. I think this really demonstrates that the county's really taking this issue seriously. It's an issue that has a big impact on a lot of people's lives in this county, in particular the unincorporated area. So I appreciate everybody's efforts, and I do think that the letter gets people to pay attention. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And I know the earlier versions were very unequivocal, and some of the verbiage has changed. Okay, well, now we'll move to public comment, and I know we have Dennis and Lee in chambers. I know you have a PowerPoint. Madam Clerk, are they going to? So I'm going to give you 5 minutes between the two of you. Okay. So and you can figure out how you want to split that up. I don't know if you want to. Is this loaded up, or are we just going to put it on the overhead? We don't need that. Oh, you don't. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Well, then we'll go to public comment then.
Okay. You have received copies of that, and it's published online for the public.
Okay. Good afternoon, Dennis.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Desmond and members of the board. My name is Dennis Ravel, appearing on behalf of our client, TNT Fireworks. If I can, I'd like to address some of the issues that board members asked the presentation. First, I'd also like to compliment the Sacramento Fire District and the Sacramento Sheriff's Office for the most detailed presentation that has been presented this board in my tenure representing this client since 1989. And I appreciate the effort that they put forward to in response to Supervisor Cerna's question about the zip codes. Given the analysis that I've seen in other jurisdictions, particularly jurisdictions that don't allow any fireworks, I would suggest that the request to both agencies be to take a look at 2022, not only where stands are, but the degree of enforcement deployment in those zip codes, because in jurisdictions where no fireworks are allowed, that's where the correlation has been. So both for looking at past statistics, but also this 2023 statistics, I'd suggest that. Supervisor Desmond, in response to your question about legislation, I think on behalf of our client, as well as the hundreds of Sacramento County nonprofit organizations that are their retail partners here in Sacramento County, we'd like to thank this board for the initiative that it took last year. As a result of the initiative of asking the California Attorney General and the California Department of Justice to exercise their statutory responsibility and attempt to clamp down on the year-round massive supply of illegal fireworks coming in from out of state. AB 1403 was introduced in February of this year. TNT is the sponsor of that legislation. It initially had some enforcement provisions in it that were actually written by a Assembly committee consultant that we thought had merit. The same committee consultants asked that that be removed, and all the stakeholders, including the California Attorney General's office, worked to refine those. We are hoping that the governor's legislative secretary will convene a working group to refine those and have all stakeholders from local government, fire, police, and the industry involved in trying to come forward with something that everyone can support. So I would certainly urge this board to make it known to the Sacramento County lobbyists that they would like to see that happen, and ask them to communicate that to the governor's office. Last, I would agree with Chief Wagerman that relying solely on local fire and police agencies to contain the use of illegal fireworks is a reactive approach, and that everyone has acknowledged that that isn't a sufficient approach because of just the sheer volume of product that we're dealing with. And we do need to disrupt this supply chain. And I'd be happy to respond to any questions.
Thank you, Dennis. Okay. Lee?
Short.
Lower the lectern.
So,
You can pull the microphones down a little bit, Lee. There you go.
On behalf of myself and your constituents who are involved in Residents Against Illegal Fireworks, we would like to thank the Board of Supervisors, Metro Fire, Sheriff's Department, County Code. Gary, I wasn't going to forget about you. and also Eric Jones for all their hard work. Some of the meetings have been kind of intense, but we were listened to, and we really appreciate all that. As I was sitting here listening to the report outs and also read what was online, there are still a couple of open questions, at least that I have. First of all, what exactly are the hours? And I know that the Sheriff's Department probably doesn't want to discuss this in public, and I don't blame them because it's their enforcement plan. It's also Metro Fire's enforcement plan. But what are days and hours of their enforcement? For instance, the city of Sacramento will operate 7 days a week for 7 days from June 30th through July 6th from 8 p.m. to 2 p.m. How many cars are there for the north and south unincorporated areas? Are they for illegal firework enforcements? Are they going to be marked cars or unmarked cars? Both agencies will send citations to county code enforcement instead of issuing the social host administrative citations on July 4th, but it's still unclear what the protocol is for the patrols to follow for evidence, including photos, officer statements, to defend against the appeals of the citations. The other thing that I noticed is that the email address, several times it was mentioned that they were incomplete. So what can be done to for the people that fill out, send an email to send complete information to the jurisdiction so that they know what information they need to write a citation, for instance. So, and the other thing that I was thinking about while I was sitting here is how can the military equipment from AB 481 also be used to utilize the enforcement of the social host ordinance? Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't know. It's just thought that came in my mind. For next year, I do hope that we continue with open discussions with Eric Jones being head of that because the meetings go quite well. He does a great job keeping everybody on track. I hope that Metro Fire will come join us again next year along with the Sheriff's Department and even maybe a representative from Barry's organization also. If this year is better than last year, I'll be the first one up here saying thank you so much. But if not, then you know me, I will be back and I have a whole list of suggestions. So I hope that you also schedule after July 4th, the pass down information by September 1st. That's all I had. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Lee. And I gave you some extra time because I know both of you have been involved in discussions directly with Eric Jones, and you'll continue to be involved in those discussions, certainly. This is something that's our approach. Our response is evolving. And I think we've made great strides and are definitely heading in a much better direction. So, any public comment on the phone?
Let me just double check if we still. Okay, we do not have any callers, so I'm going to close the queue.
Okay, and this is a receive and file. Supervisor Hume.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just want to say to the last point about using, excuse me, the equipment that was presented earlier. I know in the city of Elk Grove, we did deploy UAS in order to triangulate, hotspots of illegal fireworks. Obviously, with the unincorporated county, you're talking about a much larger geography. If you don't have the drones deployed where the problems are, you're not going to see anything. You're not going to be able to respond to anything. But, if we do get the resources where we could deploy that and use that, then it is an area. It's a way just to simply be able to sort of, as I said, triangulate to put the officers on the streets where things might be happening. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Hume. Supervisor Frost.
I just wanted to say, I know we've had this conversation for a long time, and it seems like every year everyone puts so much energy and resources toward those few nights around 4th of July, and it's like no matter what you put toward it. It seems like it's always the same. But I feel really good about the report today. I feel like the ordinance that we did, I'm hoping it's exciting to see the plans regarding the communications and the ordinance that will put some teeth into the consequences. I think people might think twice, hopefully, we'll see. I'm anxious to see the numbers as they come out, but I just wanted to thank everyone. It was a really good report, very thorough, and I feel like this year it's different. We added to it big time this year, so hopefully we'll have a positive impact. Thanks.
Thank you, Supervisor Frost. Okay, well, thank you. So we have to go back to item 27, is that correct?
Yes,
Chairperson. Maybe I'll turn to our county counsel.
Yes, that is. And I think the clerk will read the item. Yeah, so I'm going to read the item into the record. We had a revised resolution, so the only revision is that it went from 60 days to 90 days, and we didn't get that into the record for you on time. The clerk's office didn't get that into the record. Item 27 is the resolution adopting updated mitigation fees for the South Sacramento Habitat Conservation Plan.
Okay. Thank you. I assume no public comment on this item. Chair will move approval of the resolution as revised. Please vote.
Okay. Unanimous vote with those members present.
Okay. And I'll turn to our county exec for comments.
No comments other than I hope you all enjoy your break.
Thank you, Ann. And I'll go to my colleagues. Supervisor Hume.
Thank you, Chair, and I know that we're getting late in the day. It's been a long day, so I'll try and keep them brief. But I am in receipt of an email that was sent to all of us from the Community Spay Neuter Clinic about the failure of being able to codify our contract with them. I know myself and the Chair gave some of our scant resources in the TOT funds to this particular organization, and that they operate not only the vet services, but the trap, neuter, and release services, the shelter overflow. And so I don't know what the hang-up is, but they've been operating in good faith since I think it said January. And they're now racked up about $88,000 in unpaid bills. So would you please have a conversation with our Director of Animal Care and see that this gets resolved post-haste?
Yes, Supervisor.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Supervisor Hume. Okay, I have a journal in memory of former Supervisor Jim Strang. Former Supervisor Strang passed away Thursday, June 1st at the age of 93. Jim was born in Scranton, Pennsylvania on May 16, 1930, attended Dartmouth College, and served in the U.S. Army. In 1957, he and his brother Bill moved to Sacramento to start Strang Brothers Homes Incorporated. The Strang brothers worked with their longtime friend and architect Carter Sparks to build contemporary, mid-century modern homes. Their first project was the Evergreen Estates subdivision in Sacramento. They developed, built, and sold 3,800 homes. Eventually, the business expanded into commercial and apartment partnerships. They leased the Heritage Oaks Plaza retail and office project in Auburn. They also developed, owned, and managed various commercial and apartment projects in Sacramento, Woodland, and Davis. Beginning in 1986, Jim served 2 terms as a Sacramento County supervisor. The district he represented, then entirely unincorporated, included the fast-growing communities of Fair Oaks, Orangevale, Citrus Heights, and half of Carmichael. As supervisor, Jim earned a reputation as a straight-talking, humble, affable man who was known for fairness, working hard, and avoiding bombast. During his tenure, he served on the Sacramento Cable Commission, Sacramento Transportation Authority, Regional Sanitation Board, and the Sacramento Area Council of Governments. The name Strang is associated with community service and the building industry. Jim was a founding member of HARPS, the Home Assistance Repairs for Seniors, and the Community Association Institute Sacramento chapter. He was involved with the American Lung Association, Sacramento Rotary, American River Parkway Foundation, and numerous other nonprofits. Jim was also active with the Sacramento Chamber of Commerce, Sacramento Area Commerce and Trade Organization, and the World Business Forum. In 1996, he received the Citizen of the Year Award in Sacramento. Throughout his career, Jim was involved with the Building Industry Association of Superior, California, and served as a past president and was named Superior California Builder of the Year in 1980 and was inducted into the Builders Hall of Fame in 1996. Jim is survived by his wife, Mary Jo, of 65 wonderful years, 3 sons, and 5 grandchildren, and a great-grandson. His death is an extraordinary loss to his family and our community. Our hearts go out to his friends and family as they cope with his loss, and Jim's wonderful legacy will live on. And I got to know Jim probably not nearly as well as a lot of my colleagues on this dais, and can attest to certainly the comments in here about his personality and what a wonderful, warm, and kind man he was. And I know a few of my colleagues have comments as well, so I'll start with Supervisor Frost.
Oh, I just wanted to offer my deepest sympathy to Jim's family. Jim was a friend, a supporter. He was one of the kindest men you'd ever know. He built houses. He was a visionary, and he built the most exciting houses. I remember back in the 70s or 80s, he built houses with trees growing inside and skylights, and it really, he was he added a lot of, spice and excitement to our world when he came to town with his ideas. And he all along through the years, he's supported so many areas of my district, and I just want to, I'm glad he had a good long life, and I'm sorry that we'll all miss him. He'll be a hard act to follow. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Frost. Supervisor Cerna.
Thanks, Chair. So I too want to express my condolences to the String family, and just add that I had the good fortune to know Jim for a number of years, and when I made it known that I had hoped to earn the voters' confidence to serve on this board, he was very willing to share with me and impart his experience, and I got to know Jim in a different way during those early years of soul searching to find out whether or not I wanted or could even do this. But I think he is very unique in terms of his demeanor and disposition, someone that is somewhat unusual, especially in a capital city, where at least it wasn't apparent to me that he did provide his time and energy serving on this board for no other reason than to serve, not to use the office as a stepping stone to greater political ambition. And I think he continues to serve now in our memories as someone that really tempered the authority that comes with the office with humility. And I think that particular character trait is something we can and should reflect on. That was an intense part of who Jim was, and he's always served as a reminder to keep me in check at times. I wish I was. I wish the same could be said about Bombast with regards to me, but that's just not the case. So, but again, he was a friend and a supporter. We're going to miss him, and we have our thoughts with the String family in these trying days following his passing. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Cerna. Supervisor Hume.
Thank you, Chair. I'd echo everything, but I won't repeat what my colleague said, just as far as what a gentleman Jim String was. I knew him personally. He was a family friend going back to when, he and our family and the Bartholomews were about the only ones building houses down in Elk Grove. And it was a testament to a time when handshakes were contracts, and your word was your bond. And he certainly was an exemplary model for that. And I did not know about his service on this board, and so I can't speak to that relative to bombastic or not. But I just say that he was really a prince of a man and conducted himself with the utmost dignity and character and everything that he did. And this is the first time learning of his passing. So we've experienced a loss for sure.
Well, thank you, Supervisor Hume. Certainly, Jim Strang leaves a big legacy in the hearts of all of us up here, and certainly in my district as well. So if you want to ever come take a look at a Strang home, and Supervisor Frost is right, they're very unique with the big atrium in the middle with greenery growing in the middle of your house. Pretty cool. So with that, I will adjourn this meeting in honor of Jim Strang.